All right, welcome into a live special stream of the Ryan Ripken Show. I guess it's Monday. We're double barrel action and hope you guys are doing well. We're doing 2 streams today for those that are a little confused on the scheduling. We're doing our regularly scheduled show at 6 p.m., but for this specific stream, it's NFL Reaction Monday, I guess. It's free agency is not technically opening, but what is the tampering period. So there's a lot of moves that are probably going to happen. It opens up at noon specifically, and there's already been some moves so far. Just to go through who we have in studio first at the moment, we got Zach Bollinger back in the house.
Whoop, whoop.
And, of course, we have locked on Kevin Ostreicher, Oyster Striker, in the building. Kevin, how we feeling?
Feeling good. T-minus 1 minute till the start of the tampering period here. So we might get some moves right off the bat. I'm excited. This is always like such an exciting time, whatever sport, baseball, basketball, football, whatever. Free agency is really fun.
Not baseball. I gotta just say, not baseball. We still got the top free agents out there right now, and it's March 11th.
That is true.
Every other sport, correct. The first day of free agency is hectic.
No doubt about it. That's why we're doing this stream. And also for Sean, for wondering if we sent out messages on social media as well. But so does this mean we're getting 2 streams today? That is correct, Sean. Tonight, we're going to cover a lot of baseball news, especially with the Orioles. And there's some other news in the division with the Orioles that's involving the Yankees that I think we're going to have to monitor. So stay tuned. That will be at our regularly scheduled hour at 6 p.m. But for right now, we are covering free agency. Nick Moore, Ravens long snapper, is going to join us here in studio. And we might have some other guests that are going to come on as we react to it. Justin Matabike just had his press conference. But guys, why don't we start here? Because technically it is 12 p.m. on the dot. And if I'm explaining this correctly, Kevin, the tampering period, you can't officially sign, but this is where a lot of the deals are being made possibly before it's all said and done.
Right. So the league year officially starts in 2 days on Wednesday, but the legal tampering period means that agents, players, and teams can all talk to each other, negotiate with each other, and get something agreed to. Now, the thing with that, though, is that these deals don't become official until Wednesday for most of these things. So saw this a couple of years ago with Zadarius Smith and the Ravens, where those two agreed on a deal. But then as time went on, nothing was announced. And then Zadarius Smith decides to nix that deal essentially and go to Minnesota. So just because the tampering period is open doesn't mean that all the deals actually signed or agreed to today are going to actually be signed, but it gives teams and players an opportunity to negotiate before the league year actually starts.
Yeah, never forget. Michael Brockers was a Raven for about 18 hours.
Ryan Grant, legend.
But Adam Schefter right on at 12 o'clock on the dot tweets out Bears are expected to make a major push to land Eagles free agent running back DeAndre Swift. So the rumor, I mean, this has to be like Christmas morning for Adam Schefter.
Yeah,
it has to be.
This is the day he lives for. And also I saw that AB was roasting him, saying that he's the one that broke the Russell Wilson news 2 days ago instead of Adam. And Adam, I think, responded like, hey, great, but I hope all's well type of thing. But whatever it's going to be. So I guess, how do we want to start that? DeAndre Swift, obviously, Adam Schefter is reporting that. But how about what we do know?
Yeah.
And that is Russell Wilson is entering the AFC North. He is joining the Pittsburgh Steelers. That it's a 1 year, $1.2 million deal. Was I reading that correctly?
Correct. Yeah. 1.2 because the Broncos are now eating close to what is it? 39 million?
It's 38 million of the 39. The Steelers are paying the other one. So correct. I mean,
big for the Steelers. Way to take on that 1.2.
We can talk about, what Russ was in Denver, which was not good at all. But
well, I wouldn't say he wasn't not good. I just wouldn't say he wasn't great.
He wasn't Russell Wilson is what we can say. I mean, I think the fall off from what peak Russell Wilson was in Seattle, even a couple years before going to Denver, versus what ended up happening. I mean, the Hackett hiring was a disaster. I feel like, was Russell Wilson ever really wanted in Denver? I think Hackett wanted Rodgers to come over. And then Sean Payton clearly had some disconnect with him. So I don't know if Wilson was ever really wanted there in the first place. I mean, it's interesting to think about, but I feel like when you give up all those draft picks, you have to be sure about the guy. But it just never felt like they were sure about the guy.
No, definitely.
I just feel like this completes the yin and yang aspect of like the Steelers quarterback room, because you have Russell Wilson, who's known for his high knees. Then you have Kenny Pickett, who's known for putting his knee down during the fake slide and scoring. So you have two guys that like to do two different things with their knees, and now they can come together and see who wins the starting job.
Yeah, I think that's exactly
that's probably what they were thinking.
Yeah, I agree.
That's probably what the process was.
Yeah. So in this case, though, that I do agree. Joey made a point about losing the structure for Russell Wilson going from Seattle to Denver, new system, first-year head coach, kind of a recipe for disaster. Then a new coach comes in. He doesn't want you to be the guy. You still have to go out there and play, which I thought Russ played admirably. And they had a chance to make the playoffs just down the stretch. They didn't win the games that they had to win. That was the reality of the situation. Now he goes to a place that has more structure, that has more stability. And quite frankly, the Steelers keep winning games with who they've had at quarterback, Kenny Pickett. They've had Mitchell Trubisky. Yeah. And I think as long as there's not any breaking news at this moment, we want to play you a clip because Dan Orlovsky this morning on Get Up with Adam Schefter also discussed what he views the Pittsburgh Steelers as being with Russell Wilson presumably leading that team for the 2024 season.
Quarterback. They had no ability. I think they pick at 20 in the draft. They weren't going to get one of the big dogs. So you're sitting there as an organization and you're just kind of doggy paddling. And at some point you had to make a move. And I understand that this is an inexpensive move. And I understand that Sean Payton chose to move on from Russell Wilson. But for anybody that's been blessed enough to sit and listen to Mike Tomlin talk about coaching and his perspective on it and how to lead, this is an ideal situation. I'm very aware that Russell Wilson comes with a lot of conversation about the person or the leader or the aura about him. Mike Tomlin's capable of leading the team through the midst of that. And we're talking about a player. I told everybody last year, Greeny, he was a top 10 to top 12 quarterback without much help. He's got Pickens, Deontay Johnson, Freiermuth, an improved offensive line, two backs to Mike T's point. So you're mean to tell me that the Pittsburgh, it's not worth it for them? And if he plays next year the way he did last year, this team last year pushed Buffalo in the playoffs for a point in that playoff game. You don't mean to tell me like they can't go win a playoff game with Russell? Go ahead, let me.
Okay, so a few things to discuss there. One, I think it's actually a good fit for Russell for those reasons, except their offensive line is just still a question mark, but they do have some weapons around. But I agree with Dan that it wasn't in the sense that I thought Russell, I thought he did just fine last year. But the bigger question in the AFC North is you still got Lamar Jackson, the Baltimore Ravens. You still have Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals. And then, by the way, the Cleveland Browns just found a way with Joe Flacco, obviously elite, as we know. But that division's tough already. And the question is, it's not for Pittsburgh, are they just going to get to the playoffs? It's, can Pittsburgh become what Pittsburgh was 10 years ago? And that was make a deeper run into the postseason.
I disagree with Schefter. I agree it's a great fit, but I disagree with his reasoning for it. One, this is according to Pro Football Network. The Broncos O-line was ranked 14th last year, so it was actually pretty good. And the Steelers was ranked 25. So he's going to a worse offensive line. I think that's been the issue in the Steelers. And I just can't see George Pickens and Deontay Johnson being an upgrade from Cortland Sutton and Jerry Jeudy. I think they're close, but I think it's a good fit because it's a cheap deal on a veteran quarterback who can come in here and win games. But I'm not necessarily bought into the fact that Russell Wilson is going to be a resurgence and we're going to see how he looked at 28 in his peak years of Seattle. I think he's going to go in there and do a very good job.
Yeah, I think it's also where they just needed a guy last year to be more of like, I guess, a game manager. They needed someone to not lose them games. And there's all this talk about Kenny Pickett and Mason Rudolph, but Mr. Trubisky was an absolute disaster for Pittsburgh last season. And Kenny Pickett was going in and out with injuries in games, and Trubisky was coming in to spell him. And I think when Trubisky didn't get in the game, it's some crazy stat, but Pittsburgh was like 10-2 or something, or like 9-2, something like that, when Trubisky didn't see the field. Now Trubisky's gone. He's back in Buffalo, so I guess that's the Bills' problem now. But with Kenny Pickett, the big thing with Russ is I think he can make the throws that you should be making. Kenny Pickett struggled with accuracy at times, and we saw moments. I'm not saying we didn't see we'll see the moments at least, but to me, I feel like, they upgraded at quarterback, but it's not going to be like this top 5 player. They just needed someone with that defense, and maybe you go and get somebody else. But at the same time, again, Deontay Johnson might be on the way out. There have been trade rumblings about him, and they just released Allen Robinson. They have needs at wide receiver outside of George Pickens, and Najee Harris. I think they finished the year strong running the ball, but it was an up and down roller coaster for them for the most part.
Yeah, but the one thing with Russ, though, I think that he got slandered a little bit too much. You can talk about the high knees. You can talk about all the things. Zach makes it clear about the high knees every single time we talk about Russell Wilson. But he helped them get on a winning streak. Now that defense was forcing turnovers left and right, but Russell took care of the ball. And maybe you can say that was a game manager-esque. He let his players go up and make some big time plays, like to Cortland Sutton, that proved he can be a big body possession and make hell of catches out there. No doubt about it. But for Russell Wilson, always the style, even when he was in Seattle, strong run game, Russell extend plays. And that was true. When he was in Denver, if they ran the ball at least somewhat efficiently, that was a struggle for them. But if Russ extended plays, he still looked like Russell when he was in Seattle. In Pittsburgh, he doesn't have to do that. No. Now he does have more options, quote unquote options. But if Russell Wilson can continue to do what was kind of expected of him last year during that win streak, I think Pittsburgh, their defense is going to be solid. And quite frankly, the challenge, if we're going to say for Russell Wilson, if you're saying the offensive line, is that these defenses in the AFC North collectively are going to be more challenging. The Browns and Ravens, top units. We'll see how everything plays out from year to year. But on top of it, the Bengals, very solid unit. It's going to be a different style brand of football in the AFC North that Russell might not be being as accustomed to from top to bottom.
I think my biggest thing is just what are we going to see with Russ with Arthur Smith? I think that's kind of the big question mark right now. And I actually saw Mina Kimes earlier last night, gave her thoughts on it. And here, I can share my screen real quick so you guys can read along with me as I go through this. So pretty much what Mina said is her thoughts on the signing was it's an upgrade. I think we all agree it's 100% an upgrade at A+ value. You don't get quarterbacks for $1.2 million very often. Russell Wilson still throws a beautiful go ball. Pickens, obviously a beneficiary. I think we all agree on that. George Pickens is the biggest winner in this, I think, by far. Russell Wilson has a sufficient mobility to add option element to a strong run game. Like we just said, he's got the mobility that can add a different level to that offense. But Arthur Smith's offense is built around attacking the middle of the field, not Russ's strength. So this is obviously, I think Mina knows ball extremely well. I think the biggest question mark for me is just how he's going to do with Arthur Smith. And I think that's been, no matter who the quarterback was, I think I was going to question that because we saw Arthur Smith come from a team that everyone thought had so much talent on offense. And yes, the quarterback is where your money's made and they didn't have one, but I'm interested to see with a Russell Wilson, what kind of steps Arthur Smith takes.
And that is a question mark because everyone felt very frustrated with what the offense was down in Atlanta with Arthur Smith. Now, granted, Desmond Ridder had his struggles, and if your quarterback struggles, therefore your offense, but the personnel, not having Bijan Robinson get enough touches, like that was a huge talking point. But Arthur Smith, when he was with the Titans as the offensive coordinator, a lot of success, run the football, make some big plays when you had to, when you had A.J. Brown. All be interesting to watch. And if you guys are just tuning in, hit that like and subscribe button if you're on YouTube, if you're on Twitter. Follow us at Ryan Ripken. We have Kevin Chaos Striker 34.
Yep, that's right.
And that's Locked On Ravens as well. And then Zach Bollinger 18.
Boom.
So let's go through. Actually, we're going to touch on this again when Nick Moore is in the building. But the player that the Russell Wilson is going to have to see, at least over this next season, and if Russell stays in Pittsburgh for a longer period of time, Justin Madubuike just finished his press conference, I believe, in the last 30 minutes, Kevin?
Yeah, right around. Yeah.
So Justin Madubuike, official. If you want to take it away, Kevin, on the contract logistics of that, so people can understand.
Yeah, I think it was a little quicker than people anticipated. He got franchise tagged earlier in the week and then signed the extension on Friday. It's a 4-year, $98 million deal. The best part of that, honestly, is the fact they got it done before Chris Jones in his record-setting deal that he got. But the Ravens are giving Madubuike $75.5 million guaranteed. 53.5 of that is guaranteed at signing. Now, his first-year base salary is $6 million. That doesn't mean that that's what his cap hit is going to be. His cap hit is going to be right around $12.25 million. So when the Ravens franchise tagged him, they went from about $12 or so million under the cap to $10 million over. You essentially shaved $10 million off of the franchise tag number, going from 22.1 to 12.25. The Ravens are right under the cap right now. They're obviously still going to make some moves. I anticipate restructures, cuts, extensions to happen at some point. But for Madubuike, this is a guy you couldn't let walk out of the building, and him playing on the franchise tag next year would have, one, not giving him the long-term security that he wanted, and two, not giving the Ravens the financial flexibility that they needed. So I think both sides kind of knew what time it was, and with the clock ticking down to free agency, both sides got a deal done. And this was, I think, the number one move on a lot of people's priority list when it came to the Ravens anyway, and they got it done before the tampering period even started.
And we're all very happy about that. Zach, I think we
have our first news. We have our first.
Oh.
We have DeAndre Swift not officially, but he has agreed to a deal with the Chicago Bears. Bears.
The Bears. Well, I think
3 years, 24 mil. 3 years,
wow,
24 mil. That's more.
That's a little more than I thought he'd get.
Yeah.
Running back market might be, because I was expecting, just for reference of where I am on the running back market, obviously Derrick Henry, Saquon Barkley, and Josh Jacobs are the top three guys. I was expecting Derrick Henry's market to be like on the very, very low end, 6 million, and then maybe 10 million per year on the high end. Barkley, I was expecting 9 to 13 million. Same thing with Jacobs. That's a good deal for DeAndre Swift. I mean, very talented player. And Chicago, they have Rashawn Johnson still there, but Deonta Foreman's a free agent, and 2 Eagles going to Chicago in the last 2 days. Kevin Byard signed with Chicago yesterday, put the bear down emojis out there. And now we have DeAndre Swift going as well. Also, I saw the 49ers signed Brandon Allen. So
yeah, the backup quarterback.
Big moves in San Francisco right now.
Hey, they're all moves. This is the reaction period. But DeAndre Swift, interesting fit, because it felt like the Chicago, we all thought they were going to go after a running back. Did we think it was going to be DeAndre Swift? Obviously, we do now. But interesting, right? Because I guess the biggest question mark is, is Fields going to be gone and Caleb Williams comes in? But obviously that hurts then Khalil Herbert's value. I think he started to show moments, but they didn't have a true RB1 there last year in Chicago, especially after David Montgomery left. But that's the way the cookie crumbles. But for the Bears, it looks like they're going to be active. This is kind of an offense now. If we're just going to say, with no other moves, take out the quarterback, you now have DeAndre Swift, DJ Moore, Cole Kmet, or am I missing somebody else? As far as I know, Darnell Mooney is.
I don't think he'll.
And then the running back room. Then correct me if I'm wrong. Would be Johnson, Herbert, and
Swift. Yeah, those three. I mean, Swift wasn't a 1,000-yard rusher last year. I think he kind of gets lost in how bad the Eagles' collapse was. But the Eagles also do really weird things with their running back rotation. Like Kenneth Gainwell's the top back 1 week, and then like they signed Rashad Penny. I know because I drafted him in almost every fantasy league, and then he literally got cut or something. Yeah. So they hyped that up. Swift still had 230 carries last year, only 5 touchdowns on the ground, but he's been a productive player, averaged 5.5 yards a carry in limited action in Detroit in 2022, 4.6 this past season. So efficiency's been there for him too. I think, again, his season just got kind of lost because the Eagles, I mean, I've never seen a collapse like that before where San Francisco literally broke them and the rest of their year was just a disaster. So I think this is a solid move for Chicago. It's not a Saquon Barkley. It's not a Derrick Henry or a guy like Josh Jacobs, but I think it's solid value and it still allows you to go out and make other tweaks around your roster.
Yeah, I think Swift, the biggest thing this past year is proving a little bit more of the durability. That was the biggest thing. Everyone with Detroit, oh, well, you can't put it together. You're going to go somewhere else. He's an explosive runner. And actually, Nick Moore, I think, has time spent with DeAndre Swift down at Georgia. So we can even get more of his take when he comes down. I believe we will see Nick within the hour down here. Hey, if you're new to the show, hit that like and subscribe button. By the way, we are reacting live. I guess we're just kind of hanging out here as moves continue to happen. We're kind of hoping, if you're a Ravens fan, there will be a big move that happens. Maybe everyone would love to see a name, Derrick Henry or Saquon Barkley in Baltimore.
It is funny. The immediate reaction from Ravens Twitter when DeAndre Swift signed was one less team available for Derrick Henry or Saquon. It's like, okay, I don't think the Bears were ever going to be in on either of those two. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think the Bears got their guy.
Yeah, you know what? Someone just retweeted on my timeline, says the Philadelphia Eagles have signed Frank Gore to a deal from 2015. We're getting those types of retweets, and people don't look at the date first, so they just look at the reaction. Yep. And I'm like, isn't Frank Gore Jr. is he in the draft this year? Or is he go? I think he is.
I'll have to do a little bit more research on it. But Frank Gore also, if you told me Frank Gore was still signing now, I might still believe you. It felt like Frank Gore refused to die in the NFL. And what an awesome
he
player
is.
to watch.
Frank Gore is available for teams. Frank Gore Jr. is available, not Frank Gore Sr. in the draft. So, want some Frank Gore in your roster? You can get him again.
Well, speaking of the Eagles, real quickly, let's touch on what they did make one move, extending Landon Dickerson, their guard, I believe, right? Or center.
Yeah,
guard. Yeah, sorry, because now I wonder.
Came in as a center.
He came in as a center, but now it's going to be interesting. Jason Kelce now retiring. Could that be an option for him to go back to center? We'll find out. Michael Pittman Jr. signed the big extension with the Indianapolis Colts. Kevin, do you have those deals? I think.
Yeah.
I think it might be right here too, but go ahead.
Yeah, 3 years, $71.5 million, 46 guaranteed there. So all the top free agent wide receivers essentially off the market now. You know, Pittman was franchise tagged, so they're done with the franchise tag. But Evans goes back to Tampa Bay. Blanked on that for a second. To Tampa Bay. Pittman goes to Indianapolis. T. Higgins to Cincinnati, but maybe not for long. T. Higgins in Cincinnati.
And you bringing that part up, for those that didn't see the news earlier, Adam Schefter reported that T. Higgins has requested a trade from the Cincinnati Bengals. And isn't it interesting? It feels like if you go on social media for the longest time, people were saying the deal was done. Sources this, sources that. The reality is, who really knows and what the hell is going to happen? And honestly, until it's actually done, you know, there's a lot of people that give a shit. But in this case, T. Higgins felt like was a slam dunk to possibly stay in Cincy. Clearly, when you don't feel that money value being thrown your way, you get hurt. This is where the business starts to hurt. Yeah. And T. Higgins obviously feels a way about it, and he should. And there is going to be a team out there that's going to pay him. The question is going to be, who could be that potential suitor?
Yeah, I'm interested to see what happens here, because I don't think it's a foregone conclusion that T. Higgins is gone from Cincinnati, because we saw Lamar Jackson requested trade. We've seen Jalen Johnson earlier requested trade from the Bears. I mean, I think it's more of just a tactic these days to request a trade and, you know, see what your value is elsewhere. But at the same time, the Bengals have to pay Jamar Chase, and I don't think they can pay two guys top wide receiver money. I think T. Higgins wants top receiver money. So it's going to be interesting to see what they can get for him at the moment, because it does sound like he wants to go elsewhere and be that guy.
Yeah, I think that T. Higgins, and this is what I try to tell people in the business, it's not just football. This is any sports industry business. It's money talks. If they change the deal, you brought up Lamar Jackson. The Ravens never wanted to let Lamar walk, but Lamar, if there was a tactic, whatever it was going to be, if a deal gets done and you get paid, everyone's happy. That's the nature of the beast. It just in the moment, it might be frustrating. So it's not closing the door on T. Higgins, but they still do have Jamar Chase. You have Joe Burrow. You have to pay some of these players, and eventually that's going to catch up to you. So that will be, as it goes on, I'm sure we're going to have a lot more information. And if you're just sort of tuning in, we're doing a live stream. It's NFL tampering period is open up. So if you're new to the channel, hit that like and subscribe button. And Kevin will explain this again. So Justin asked, so within 15 minutes of legal tampering, they get a deal done. Is there a pre-legal tampering period? It's fascinating. You always feel like teams are talking behind the scenes, right?
They are.
Is there like...
Okay, like I think it's one of those things where it's like they're not officially talking, but these agents and GMs are in contact 24/7, and it's got to be stuff like, hey, just randomly, how's DeAndre Swift doing? Is he what's his market looking like? And then all of a sudden 12 o'clock hits. It's like, well, here's the deal that we just happened to mention in passing, and that's how this stuff gets done. Yeah, a lot of these deals, especially DeAndre Swift, was probably done earlier today, last night, and now they're just announcing it.
Yeah, teams are careful, or at least more careful about it, because a couple of years ago, the Bengals and Alex Kappa got leaked that they agreed to a deal 1 minute into free agency, and everyone's like, oh yeah, that's interesting. How did you get a whole deal done in 60 seconds? And everybody kind of put the pieces together where, yes, and in the NBA, it happens all the time too, where they kind of have the same thing, and it's the same rules where you're not allowed to talk to free agents until, I think for them, it's July 1st. And we see guys, they're always like 5 different tweets right at the start of free agency that deals are agreed upon. And those things take some time. It's not like you can call somebody up, say, hey, we're interested. Let's do this deal. The guy says, all right, let's do it. And 60 seconds goes by and you got a deal. So it's very well known that in the grand scheme of things, it could happen. So,
okay, I got to bring this up. So Deion Dawkins, the left guard, right guard? Tackle. Yeah. That too. Left tackle. He put on Twitter like 5 minutes ago, thank you to Buffalo for all the time, all of this stuff. And then everyone was tweeting out, according to him, he's moving on. Then Adam Schefter just tweeted out, Bills 3-time Pro Bowl left tackle Deion Dawkins is re-signing with the team for 3 years, $60.5 million extension. So I guess he was just trolling fans in Buffalo because he posted a whole, it was a good while. It was good while it lasted. Excited for this next chapter of my football career. Wonder if it's okay to eat ranch now. And it's his official account. And so like all these
you love it? I love that. I love with them just stirring the pot. The athletes just want to
he
stir
knew
it
it was
around
getting
a little
announced, so he just announced that he was leaving beforehand.
Yeah, I've seen an unhealthy amount of eyeball emojis in the past 5 minutes.
So many eyeball
it's that
emojis.
It's that time of year.
Well, it is that time of year. And actually to talk about that, if you're just tuning in, Deion Dawkins back to the Buffalo Bills. It is a 3-year, $60.5 million extension. And also to get the DeAndre Swift, 3 years, $24 million to the Bears, $15.3 million guaranteed, according to Adam Schefter there. So guys are getting some good deals. You know what I want to know with codes with agents? I mean, they're all talking, but it'd just be like, hey, DeAndre Swift, does he like to go to the zoo? What's his favorite animal? Does he like bears? And maybe that's where the conversations go. But it's true. All these moves are kind of being pre-calculated. So when things are being released, but you're right, Kevin, they have to be careful with what they do. And for those that are just tuning in right now, we're doing a special live stream right now at 12. We have our regular scheduled Ryan Ripken show at 6, but it's the NFL tampering period. It's open, wide open. Deals are starting to happen as we speak. And we are going to talk a lot of baseball at our 6 p.m. show, but because of the NFL tampering period, we want to be on here. We had some time, and we're going to have Nick Moore in here to discuss some moves. And we'll also maybe we'll see a Ravens move. It's been unrealistic in years past for the Ravens to make a move this early, but you never know with the ability or the guys that are available right now. But make sure you hit that like and subscribe button, whether you are watching on X or on YouTube.
Do you know what I think would be the funniest thing ever? If the Ravens signs Zadarius Smith again. I just feel like it'd be so funny because of everything that happened last time. And then he comes back, and what even put the cherry on top is if he re-signed for the same deal that he got the second time around and ended up turning down. That's my bold prediction I want to see happen is the Ravens signs Zadarius Smith again.
But no one would believe it if that would happen. Oh, he's back. No, he's not back. Zach, what you got?
I was going to put up the real quick. This is the not that. Let me share my screen. And here is the Deion Dawkins tweet that's now going viral. It was good while it lasted, Buffalo. Excited for this next chapter of my football career. Wonder if it's okay to eat ranch now. And it's his official account that he's now trolling everyone with. So now he's back for 3 years over $60 million. So I guess it was a good day for him. And he got some Twitter clout.
Yeah. Well, go ahead, Kev.
I said if Buffalo were to lose another key contributor, I mean, it's just we saw over the past couple of days how gutted their roster got. So losing Deion Dawkins, I mean, I know they have issues with salary cap space, or they did at least. Losing Dawkins would have been a tough blow for him. So something went right for Buffalo for the past couple of days. It was this move here.
Yeah, it felt like it was an exodus leaving Buffalo the last week or so, just with all the cap casualties that they had to have. One more subject, at least right now, as far as news, which it's a rework contract for Demario Davis and the New Orleans Saints, who talk about cap hell. They've had cap hell, it felt like, for years.
Mm-hmm.
But he is restructuring a deal. It's being replaced with a 2-year, $17.25 million deal that includes $13.25 in fully guaranteed money. Demario Davis is 35 years old and figures to finish his career in New Orleans, according to Adam Schefter. So that's just what we're going to have to see play out. But yeah, I don't understand the ranch comment by Deion Dawkins, by the way. Are we back on condiment
because
talk?
of Buffalo?
Yeah, it's because of Buffalo. They don't use ranch there.
It's forbidden.
Yeah,
No
you can't,
shit.
Yeah, with wings and stuff. I don't think you're allowed to. That's like a big no-no there.
Did we as a show decide if we were more ranch or blue cheese? For
I don't do
wings?
either.
I can't do blue cheese. It's my least favorite food.
I don't do either. I like the spice.
You do like the spice. I think I've grown to like blue cheese more than ranch. But if any of you guys have a choice, blue cheese or ranch on your wings, let us know. And then also let us know, what is a move you'd like to see the Ravens possibly do? Derrick Henry, Saquon Barkley, Josh Jacobs are all running backs that fans are very interested in. right?
Yeah, we have a couple of rumors, not official moves, but Diana Rossini at The Athletic put out over the past 30 minutes or so. Just a couple rumors says that the Eagles and Texans are expected to have strong interest in signing Saquon Barkley. I feel like we already knew that. Feels like, Eagles, Texans, Ravens. I think Bears were in that conversation before they signed DeAndre Swift. Also says that Christian Wilkins, the Dolphins defensive lineman who didn't get franchise tagged, he's a top target for teams like the Vikings, the Browns, the Texans, and the Lions. The Browns need defensive linemen for like 5 years now. They did a good job of kind of patchworking it last year, but him or Eric Armstead, I feel like I have a weird feeling one of those two guys is going to end up in Cleveland somehow. And then Xavier McKinney, the versatile safety for the Giants, he's a top target for both the Packers and the Eagles, or the Giants want to keep him. So maybe the Eagles are just getting all these NFC East division players, Barkley and McKinney. They're just taking players away from the Giants, who did lose out on the Russell Wilson sweepstakes. Apparently it was the Steelers, the Raiders, and the Giants, and the Steelers ended up winning out.
They certainly did win out. And I was just noticing something right here. The Christian Wilkins or Armstead move, by the way, is fascinating.
Yes.
The 49ers had to make it, but that is a name now. We're talking about defensive lineman play. That dude's a stud.
Kevin, maybe you know this better than me. Why was it all reported that he decided that he wanted to be?
I'm sure that was more like a mutual, where it had to be. They were apparently close to getting a deal done.
Okay,
and then they didn't end up getting it. So I think he was just like, "Look, I want to go get my money somewhere, and if you're not going to keep me at my number, I just want to go elsewhere." And I'm sure the team was like, "Look, well, I think they saved like over 10. I think it might have been closer to 20. They saved 18 or something. I can't remember the exact number, but at that point, I mean, Armstead is really, really good. He was actually missing from that 49ers-Ravens matchup the first time they played. Well, the only time, I guess, they played in the season last year. And he's a huge run stuffer, can get to the quarterback from the interior, but he has dealt with some injuries over the past couple of seasons. And I guess in terms of his value, best value you can have is availability for the most part, especially in football, where, I mean, these guys get battered all the time. So I think Armstead's still a great player, and maybe a team can get him for a little bit less than market value because of the injury situation.
Yeah, that's a component that goes into all the conversations. Best ability is availability first and foremost, and then what do you do with that ability when you're on the field? And for those that are tuning in, we're doing this live right now. We have 2 streams today. We have our regular streaming, Ryan Ripken Show at 6 p.m., but it's NFL tampering time. So we're having this discussion because deals are being made at the moment as we go. And I see Joe was commenting on a few things. One about Zach being traded, but Zach has a no trade clause in his contract with the Ryan Ripken Show. So Zach,
the rookie deal, you can't be traded on the rookie deal.
Well, Sean was saying, sorry, we can confirm those rumors are false. No trade clause signed the moment he stepped in here. But is it a special show with me having the half zip? Well, I do have the black shirt on underneath, Joe. So I'm staying true to myself. So don't you dare go there. But hey, Justin, another question. Justin, thank you for asking. And anyone that has questions on YouTube, we can see it more, but please on X as well, ask your questions here. We'll talk more about some of these Ravens possibilities in the running back department in a minute. But anyone know how much cash the Ravens have? I know with cap space, but isn't cash different, by the way? And Justin, new favorite show, guys. Can we give it up for Justin for a second? Kevin, don't you stop clapping. There
I
it is.
will never stop clapping.
Kevin's been caught lacking a few times clapping.
Lacking and clapping. Boy, Justin, we appreciate it. Ask all the questions that you want. But Kevin, do you just want to explain this a little bit for Justin?
Yeah, in terms of the actual cash they have, the cash is, I mean, what the team actually has, like in, like cash form, where the team can have more cash than they're available to actually spend, because every team has a set number of whatever the NFL salary cap is. This year, it's upwards of $250 million. But the cash numbers, I mean, if you talk about the cash flow, it's just, the organization in general. So when teams trade for cash, like you see it a lot, cash considerations, our favorite Orioles player, when that happens, it's not about, I mean, the MLB has no salary cap, so I guess it's not a great example, but in the NBA, there are cash trades that happen. You don't really see that happen a ton in the NFL, where
I don't think
get traded for cash. Can you not?
No, I don't think there can be any financial, unless you're eating part of a contract. I don't believe you can.
Okay, yeah.
I the only reason, because I assumed that was a part of it before, but I think I saw something the other day where someone was explaining why you don't see like players trade for straight up cash. Like you can, I think, add it in. Like we'll pay part of this guy's
Right.
salary, but you can't necessarily do the, like you said, the everyone's favorite Oriole, where it's just like, yeah, we'll take that minor leaguer and we'll just send you like
Right.
$200,000.
Well, they do it in the NBA where they you can buy second round picks essentially. Like you trade money for the pick, and that's how you do it. But in the end, you never see it in the NFL. You just see, like, for example, with the whole thing, when there's a trade, a team can say, yeah, we're going to pay 15 of this $20 million contract if you attach this pick to the deal, but it's not them trading the pick for straight up cash.
Don't you just love that? Don't you just love all the specifics that goes into being a GM? And I know a lot of people believe out there they can be a general manager. I think managing the cap would be very stressful over and over again, especially with when moves happen and you have different priorities of what you want. And hey, again, I'll give another EDC appreciation because I think he's done a tremendous job with it. Yeah, there we go. Thank you.
There we go. Put it around. There we go. Yeah, no. EDC appreciation clap. Love it.
Yeah. So if you guys are tuning in, again, we're just staying live here. Nick Moore is joining us. He had a little bit of things to do, but we have this live stream. We can talk to Nick about the big Matabike deal, about potential opportunities for the Ravens coming up. But I guess while we're waiting, it's a little bit of a quiet period here. Why don't we talk a little bit about some of those rumored Ravens at the running back position here for a second?
Yeah, we actually have a poll up.
Oh, we do? Can we talk about that poll?
Yeah, so I put up a poll that says, what running back do you want the Ravens to sign? And I gave the 4 options. I said Derrick Henry, Saquon Barkley, Josh Jacobs, or none. And still early, only 2 minutes ago I put it up, but right now 31% of the vote says Derrick Henry. Very close, actually. Actually, it just got tied. Josh Jacobs and Derrick Henry are both tied at 31%.
Okay, so this is a very interesting concept here. And obviously, as you know, Gus Edwards, Keaton Mitchell's not going to be ready for the season, obviously, with the late injury at Jacksonville. And talk about still that watching that play in person down in Jacksonville, just your heart ripped out because it felt like he was finding his groove. But the reality is we have to wait a little bit longer. Hopefully it's a smooth recovery for him. But then what do you do? Is it a guy like Gus Edwards, or is it a dynamic running back in the sense that has the pass catching ability like a Saquon Barkley or a Josh Jacobs, who has proven he can catch more balls out of the backfield? And then there's just Derrick Henry that can catch some balls, but it's really like, here's the ball, go run into somebody or just run them over. And that honestly is a good style of play, especially if you're talking about with the Ravens offensive line and having Lamar Jackson, that type of force that he could bring. But it is a different system for Derrick Henry as well if he comes to Baltimore. I think that they would make it fit. But guys, are we thinking about, is there one that maybe interests you the most in this? Because each of those players, Derrick Henry would probably be the cheapest.
Well, now I think there's the question of what is cheap, because going into free agency, I thought cheap. I thought expensive was going to be $10 million a year. I thought that was going to be a high-end guys slightly overpay for the market getting 10 mil. But then DeAndre Swift goes and gets, what would that be? $8 million a year pretty much.
Yeah.
And I think that changes the market drastically for running backs. And I think you are looking at Saquon and Derrick Henry, Josh Jacobs getting $10+ million. And if it's that, I don't know if I make that move if I'm the Ravens, just because I think they've done so well making it work without a top running back that I'm not sure if, with as much low cap as they have, if it's worth going out there and using it on a running back.
Well, Rob right here. Hey, Rob, how we doing? How we feeling? $9 million a year might not be enough to get Saquon. It's the only thing.
Saquon 9.
I mean, in this economy, absolutely, I would take Saquon at 9. The question is, does Saquon get, now if it is a multi-year deal where he has a little bit more guarantees? Absolutely. And could you imagine Saquon and his quads in the black and purple for the Baltimore Ravens?
We saw a preview a couple years ago with Mike Davis. I don't know if Zach, if we can pull the picture up of Mike Davis and his quads, but we had a little quad. What do they call Saquon? Quadzilla over there.
Yeah.
So Mike Davis is you might have to do a quad competition between Mike Davis and Saquon, and I'll also throw my quads in the equation too. Just for I'm the winner, obviously, but just to have the second place be between Mike Davis and Saquon.
I agree wholeheartedly with that. The other one that also massive quads, AJ Dillon on the Packers.
Oh yeah,
this is ridiculous.
Talk about not skipping leg day, and probably great genetics as well, but not skipping a leg day by far. Great player. And you know what? It leads to the next question. with Chief Tron. Yeah, good seeing you again, Chief. Where do you guys think JK will be playing at this year? And that's the other Raven that, unfortunately, I don't think there was a Ravens running back in the last few years that I was really hoping would especially for this season. I really wanted to see a J.K. Dobbins breakout year. And then to see him have a solid first game and then the injury to happen, it's demoralizing. But the business part of it now is that most likely J.K. Dobbins is probably not going to re-sign unless it is going to be at a full discount. But where do you guys think he ends up? I heard someone saying Packers could be a spot behind Aaron Jones.
That's where I've seen the most rumors, honestly, about teams that are interested, at least showing interest in him. But like you say, I wanted him to do well so badly. I mean, every time he's on the field, he shows so much promise. But obviously, like Kevin said earlier, like the best ability is availability in the National Football League. And if he's not going to be able to go and play every single week, even majority of the season, I'm interested to see. It's going to be a cheap 1-year prove-it deal. I think that's pretty much a guarantee. But I think a team like the Packers, I don't think J.K. Dobbins gets a starting role anywhere, especially not off signing, meaning I don't think a team that needs a starting running back goes, let's grab J.K. Dobbins and then that's our guy. I think it'll be someone that they can slowly work J.K. in with.
I think that, I saw the Chargers fit, and then I remembered who their offensive coordinator was, and I remember what happened at the end of that Cincinnati playoff game last year when Dobbins was essentially like, give me the ball. Like, why am I not getting the ball in these situations? I think the Packers does make sense. At this point, I think that I agree with Zach, where at the very best for JK, a committee role to start out is what he's going to get, where you can pair him with someone. I thought Chicago could have been a spot for him before DeAndre Swift, but I think for both Dobbins and Edwards, it's a little different, where Edwards is still an efficient runner, but we saw the efficiency drop off by about a full yard per carry last year, at 5 yards per carry, and then that ended up going down to 4.1 last season. We know the potential's there with JK. He was the top running back his rookie season in yards per carry, had 6 yards per carry his rookie season on pretty incredible efficiency. He was actually only behind in the entire NFL Lamar Jackson and Kyler Murray for yards per attempt, but we're talking about the 2020 season. We're about to start 2024, and we haven't really seen that JK, or at least we've seen it, and then he's gotten injured. So both of those guys, I feel like it's interesting because there are a bunch of teams that need like that, essentially. Like, I'm not calling him a number 2 because of his talent, but that like 1.5 where you're not going to give him bell cow, but you're going to give him a bunch of different options as well.
We got another move.
Oh, we do. Oh, look at that. Oh, I wanted this one for Baltimore.
Tony Pollard?
Oh, no, I'm not seeing that.
Whoa. Hey now.
All right, you go first.
What's the noise?
Zach go first. Oh, that was good.
Oh, that could be if the Ravens make a big move. That's definitely.
Where did Tony Pollard go? I'm not seeing it.
Aaron Wilson, just who covers the Texans.
No.
So he's going to the Titans.
Oh,
wow.
Which is very that would be Tajay Spears and
Tony
Pollard. Okay.
I think we kind of had the same look.
Yeah.
Can we pull that tweet up so we can see to share the screen for a minute?
Yeah.
So if we're hearing this correctly, Tony Pollard is going to be a Tennessee Titan, not a Houston Texan. By the way, another landing spot for a big name running back, by the way. We'll see what happens there. I just want to point out, the kid besides the Ravens, who's the realistic free agent you think helps the Ravens win the title next year? We will answer that question. We appreciate that question. Let us get back to that after we figure out what the hell's going on.
We both thought we had the same news, but we had different ones. I'm seeing John Grenard goes from Houston to Minnesota.
Yeah, I just saw that as well.
That's the one I wanted for the Ravens. Tony Pollard, I didn't.
I was going to say, when you said that, I was like, you wanted Tony Pollard?
No. I thought Grenard would have been cool, but.
So here's what Aaron Wilson, who does cover the NFL, actually, he was over here in Baltimore at one point, wasn't he?
Yep. He was with the Sun, yeah.
He was, but in our favorite word, per source. So
per a league source, Titans are expected to sign running back Tony Pollard. I won't lie, I did check like 7 times before I said to make sure that was like a real Aaron Wilson account, and I was like, this doesn't make sense. Like, am I getting trolled? But it does.
Yeah. Let's hypothetically say that this happened. Tony Pollard, I'm with you, Zach. That's not the move for the Ravens. And honestly, the one that we didn't talk about with running backs, the Ravens do not go and get a free agent running back. I think Blake Corum is going to play for the Ravens or the Chargers. He's not leaving the Harbaugh family.
Do you want to see Zach Scorm for a second? Put the camera on him real quick. Austin Eckler.
What?
Nothing's happened. I just want
Okay, well, we'll save that for a different time. Yeah, but Blake Corum is a name that I'm still going to think could make his way back to Baltimore. He went to high school at St. Francis Academy. I don't think he leaves the Harbaugh systems. I feel like it just seems like it's meant to be. But as far as the Tony Pollard deal for the Titans, new head coach, new system in place. I think Tony Pollard, to me, the value for him wasn't as high last year because of everyone thought he was going to be the one to take off in that offense with no Zeke. But quite frankly, he had some moments, but it seemed like it was hard for him to stay healthy for a full season. And looking how explosive Spears had last year in those moments spelling Derrick Henry, just feels like it's going to kind of be more of a split. Am I crazy to think this off the bat? If it's going to be Pollard gets the majority, but Spears still gets 10 touches, maybe.
Yeah, I think they like Spears. They like Spears.
They love Spears. That's why I'm so confused about all this. Like, it would make sense if they bring in like a back like Gus Edwards would have made perfect sense there. But like,
honestly, JK would have made a lot of sense there.
Yeah, I just don't understand. And it's funny, under Aaron Wilson's tweet, everyone is like, why are they doing this to Tajay Spears? Like, that makes no sense because it is a running back that's, I don't want to say same skill set, but it is very similar skill set. I think Tajay is more explosive than Pollard, but
very, very similar in the sense of
game style.
Yeah, well, and also the explosiveness. And I think that for Tennessee, they need the bruiser. They need the bruising back. And for Tony Pollard last year, that wasn't his role. They were hoping, a lot of people in fantasy, if you drafted him, were hoping he was going to be that bruiser role, or sorry, the bell cow that could be a bruiser. But he's kind of a home run type hitter, can make big plays. What do you have?
Rappaport officially put out that Pollard is so we have more higher sources now confirming that it does look like Pollard is going to the Titans.
Well, so when you brought up, because Aaron Wilson covers the Texans, when you hear that, then the Texans got to be in the market for somebody.
They have to be. Singletary was fine for him, but they have bigger goals. I think Singletary is a nice 1B option, where you bring in a Saquon or a Derrick Henry or a Josh Jacobs to that group. I think the Texans, if they can go, I think Saquon feels like the most realistic spot, or the Texans feel like the most realistic spot for Saquon right now. Maybe the Eagles. I mean, I think the Eagles are going to end up with one of Derrick Henry or Saquon Barkley. It just feels that way, especially after losing DeAndre Swift. But at this point, I think the Texans, I mean, we saw how good they were last year with just the potential they have. CJ Stroud in year 2. Maybe they add a receiver. They're going to get Tank Dell back, who was awesome before going down. They brought back Dalton Schultz. There's a lot of potential. They also have to shore up their offensive line a little bit, but I'm excited to see what the Texans do. They're one of my sleeper teams, or I shouldn't even say that because they kind of burst onto the scene last year, but I like them a lot next season.
Well, so if you guys are just tuning in, this is a special stream, NFL Free Agency instant reaction stream for the Ryan Ripken Show. We usually go on at 6 p.m. We are a Maryland-based show, but we love to cover the NFL and for baseball season. Our 6 p.m. show tonight, we will be covering a lot of baseball news, including this news about Garrett Cole. So that is coming up tonight for the Yankees. And do we have, wait a minute.
We got the numbers on Grenard's deal. 4 years, $76 million. 4 years, $76 million. That includes $42 million guaranteed. And that's before guys like Daniil Hunter, Bryce Huff. This edge rusher market is going to be big time.
Jadeveon's going to get paid.
So that's a lot of that's millions of dollars. Millions. Here, if I'm not mistaken.
That's millions
of dollars. But okay, Clowney, again, I think it's going to be an interesting. Everyone wants to see Clowney come back to Baltimore. He obviously enjoyed his time in Baltimore. The word about him saying he really enjoyed the entire season. When he left the season, it was a moment of not of agony besides the playoff loss. It was a overall kind of positive, maybe his most positive NFL experience on a team. It seemed like, and he had a great year for the Baltimore Ravens, but if he's looking for a multi-year deal or even a 1-year deal, it's going to be paid. And they're going to overpay for pass rushers here, Kevin. So I think that was another question. So maybe we go back to that for a second. You said this is the guy that we just were talking about. This is, he wanted the Ravens to sign. Okay. So the question that the kid had earlier was, if I could find it again, Did it disappear? It might have disappeared on me. Can't find it. But what free agent move would you like to see them, the Ravens, make that could help them get outside of the running back department?
Yeah, I think it's exciting to think about the running backs, but if you're talking about outside, I think a guy that was recently linked to the Ravens, Mike Owenu from the Patriots, we know the Ravens are going to be shuffling. I mean, I expect personally 4 new starters on this line in 3 years max. Honestly, probably after next season, we're seeing maybe 4 new starters on this line. Linderbaum's the only guy you have. That includes the guards because you go from left to right. Ronnie Stanley, we know, is not a long-term solution anymore. John Simpson's a free agent. Linderbaum's the guy. Zeitler is a free agent. And Morgan Moses also is not a long-term solution. So Owenu is someone who has tackle guard versatility depending on what you want to do with him. And to me, I think that's a championship caliber move, in my opinion. Personally, it all starts in the trenches, both offensively and defensively. The Ravens have their defensive line shored up. They signed just out of BK Travis Jones. I'm expecting him to be my breakout player for the Ravens next season. So in my opinion, I think that for the Ravens, you beef up those trenches. You put guys next to Linderbaum. You maybe draft a tackle, a very deep tackle class in round 1 or 2. I don't know what the moves are going to look like because we haven't really seen them make any restructures or cuts or extensions so far. But I'd expect there to be at least 1 new starter on the offensive line this year, if not maybe 2 guys that are new.
Well, I'm with you on that. Hey, and can you just describe right here real quickly, because we also have Nick Moore about to join us here. But this is the Tony Pollard deal, I think, that is going out. That's the rumor. 3 years, $24 million, same as DeAndre Swift.
Deal.
And we're all making it in right now. Oh, hey now.
There he is.
Oh, he just passed by. But we got Nick Moore about to sit down. Nick, you're missing a lot of moves, man. Your buddy DeAndre Swift is going to Chicago.
Yeah, I was watching the stream on the way in. So.
Oh, there he is.
I was keeping in touch with everybody.
Well, good. While you get set up here, so Nick Moore with the Ravens is about to step in here. He had a nice, I guess it was your rehab. You're working hard each and every day. You get set up here for a minute, but we've had a lot of moves being made. If you're new to the show, this is a special stream, Ryan Ripken Show, talking the NFL tampering period here. That means moves are happening as we speak. Tony Pollard, for those that are just joining, Tony Pollard is going to the Titans on a reported 3-year, $24 million deal. So is DeAndre Swift going to the Bears at a 3-year, $24 million deal. Trying to think of the other moves. We had some re-signings.
John Grenard.
John Grenard is going to the Vikings, correct?
It essentially means Daniil Hunter's not going back there. So
Can we stop? I mean, obviously, like, go get your bag, but like the running back market is way higher than people thought. I would know. Nick, you good over there?
Yeah. I'm locked in here. Sorry.
Well, hey, everyone.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey,
guys?
Nick Moore, everyone, with the Ravens.
Welcome
there he
in.
is.
Welcome in. Thanks for
There
having
he
me.
is.
Pleasure to be here, boys.
Go ahead.
But
Zach.
the running back market, like we said, there was thoughts that the top running backs could get less than 10 million this year, just the way the market's going. And for 2 guys that I would say were kind of in that second tier, I think everyone kind of had Josh Jacobs, Saquon, and Derrick Henry as those are your top 3. And then it was a second tier of Swift, Pollard, and guys like that. And for the second tier to be getting $8 million a year.
Is that what I know? That's what Swift got.
Yeah, Pollard they got
the
pretty much
same thing,
identical
yeah.
deals.
I
3
think
years, 24.
Swift got 24.5 and Pollard got 24.
Oh, I would be so mad if I was Pollard.
That's a hell
Where'd
of
that
a
0.5 going?
Yeah, hey, let's
let me get that 0.5.
that point. Hey, Nick,
0.5.
Yeah.
on a side note here, Nick's a friend of the program, regular with the program here, and also a lot of people are wondering about when the Oklahoma drill between Kevin and Nick is going to go down.
I got to get a couple more. I still got like another month and a half before I'm 100%. So we got some time.
Well, I don't know if you heard. We're going to do that. We're going to do the hot dog race.
Yeah,
in
I heard
person,
that.
And we're going to do it.
Yeah.
We're going to do it outside of Pickles, and that's where it can be done.
All right.
Do you like relish?
Do I know?
Oh, then I'm going to
no.
be dressed up as relish. So you can, yes,
God,
that'll give you extra motivation.
And also, Rick wants to arm wrestle you, and maybe that's.
Oh, I actually have to do. I forgot.
I mean, sign me up for that, dude.
Oh,
Bring it
also, we
on.
just had another David Bakhtiari from the Packers just hit the open market, got released. I think that was
New York.
Yeah, I was gonna say, can we just say it right now?
Is he going to New York or what?
He's going with his
gotta
best
be
friend.
Has to be.
Him and A-Rod are like best friends.
There was like rumors that A-Rod wanted him like as a part of the package deal to go to New York last year. Like it was like, no, you're trading for both of us is what's happening. And then obviously
A-Rod's got that kind of pull. So
although I did see this is so messed up, but they were like the Ravens should bring in David Bakhtiari because between him and Ronnie Stanley, you can get a full 17 games healthy out of him.
Oh,
And I was like, oh my God.
That's messed up.
It was so bad. But
Hey,
I did
Ronnie
laugh.
got his games in this year. Right?
Yeah,
He
exactly.
Ronnie got his games in.
Yeah. Hey, well,
Actually, you know what's funny is I think Ronnie got like 15 games in, and Bakhtiari got like 2. So like
Yeah,
it did kind
right
of
at 17.
They did get the 17.
Yeah. Ronnie
yeah.
had 2 playoff games too, so he got his.
Yeah.
He got his
I
17.
plays
think-
when it matters.
I think that people, and that could be for a whole different discussion with Ronnie. I think when you're coming back from injuries, it's so hard, and it's been so. Nick, even for you, it's demoralizing when you have to keep doing it over and over again. And for Ronnie, though, I think people look at it just the business side is: are the Ravens going to have to restructure deals? Probably that's the business of it. We just talked about all the business of these rework deals that are happening currently right now. That's just the way it is. Last thing to follow up with the final thing between Kevin and Nick. Engraven, we love you. Nick, you should be scared. Kevin O is going to run you over.
I
hyped me up a little too
it's
much.
going to be
I
a
don't
close
know.
competition. I'm sure of it. I can feel it.
We're taking Kevin off on a stretcher.
Adrenaline is a hell of a thing.
It is. It is.
One hell of a drug. All right,
That's
so we're
for sure.
And smelling salts if I do get them before.
wow.
Yeah.
Oh, that's going to help you get launched 15 yards instead of 10, Kevin. So, all right, Nick, where do we want to start with this now with you being here? Obviously, we already
Matt
touched-
Beeks, dude. I freaking love that.
Yeah.
dude.
Yeah, why don't we
Yeah,
start
that's it.
there?
We got to start with the Ravens.
Let's
I
start
think
with
that's
the
a great
Ravens.
move,
Okay,
yeah.
so Justin Madubuike had the press conference. Guy got paid.
Yes, he did.
So talk
guy.
talk a little bit
Throw
about.
some my way, brother. Share the love, baby.
That's what Lamar said. Give me my money.
snapper money?
Dude, no, I don't know how I didn't get that deal. I'll be honest.
Unreal.
It was
We're-
between the two of you. Both were in the meetings. You know, they're
Bro,
like, who do we
he
give
had
the
he had
95
what
to?
13 and a half sacks. I play 13 and a half plays a year, so it's
That-
equally the same.
That is yours. Is honestly, you deserve a little more.
Give me some of that money.
You know what we should now is get the per play amount that each of
Okay.
you would make. Just to say like whatever you've made in the past on a year basis and what Madubuike is
I
going to
think
make.
Matt Beeks is making in a game what I'm making in a season. So
Yeah.
I
But
haven't-
if you think about I like what you're saying. If you think about break it down by how many snaps on the field, who make like what the contracts look like per
that's true.
snap.
He does play about 7 times more than I.
Yeah.
I would say on average, I play around 175 plays a year.
Really?
Yeah, because you got to think like with my position, when the offense is doing really well, we're kicking a lot of field goals, and if we're doing really bad, we're punting. But it's like you can't do both, right?
Yeah.
So the average play per game is usually around 9, unless we're throwing picks and turning the ball over.
Yeah, that's what.
But there's not like you could play a game where offense is 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out. And then the other team's offense is 12-play drive, 9-play drive, 10-play drive. So you're getting significantly more plays on defense.
Mhm.
For me, that never happens. Like I pretty much
Yeah.
float between 7 and 10 plays. The peak I've ever had is 11, and the fewest I've ever had is 5. But I would say on average, I'm probably 8.5 to 9 plays a game.
And those are the best fucking plays of the game.
The best 9 plays of the entire game.
We actually have a long snapper signing right now.
Whoa.
James Winchester goes to the Chiefs.
Oh, God.
Oh, he was already there. He's been there for.
I thought they were going to be like,
He
to the
retired.
Ravens. I was like, we have
Yeah.
competition
I would've-
going down on street. Nick gets
I
up
would
to
have
go.
called. I would have made a phone call right now. That'd have been news to me.
That would have been a lot.
Nick just on live. Hey, Eric. So you want us to talk about that?
Hey, all right,
Winchester
let's
re-signing. Yeah, that's a good.
let's a good for them. See these
Yeah.
teams. A lot of these deals so far that we have seen, it's re-signing or extensions, rework deals with the current team that they have. But let's talk about Madubuike for a
let's go
second.
back to that.
The value, at least, take out the contract getting paid. What does he do that's so special? And what really to you, what you're seeing this year that maybe you were, I think we even talking to you, you were expecting him to make this big jump.
Mhm.
So maybe what did you see that evolved from Justin Madubuike not just being a really good player to now being one of the top end type of interior
Yeah.
defensive lineman?
I think this new system that we had with Mike really allowed him to flourish. He stepped up as a leader this year. I think he showed some of the things he had, there were glimpses of it in the first 3 years of his career. Him and I got there together, so I've been with him the whole time. But this year, I think you were able to really see how fast and how strong and how quick he is. And, being able to get and how strong he is. I mean, like the guy can just move offensive linemen, he can just manhandle most of these guys. So I think this year he was able, like I said, I think he was able to flourish in this system that we had going. And I just think he really was able to show who he truly is and how quick and powerful he is. And I think he's very deserving of this contract. And I'm hoping that he's established himself as one of the top guys in the league. I know this year he was statistically one of the best, if not the best. So I think if he can build on that and continue to put up those kind of numbers moving forward, then I think we got exactly what we wanted out of him.
Yeah, I'm curious. It says, just looking at his height and weight, it says he's 6'1", 305 pounds. I don't know if we can confirm
I feel
or
like
deny.
he's taller than 6'1".
Well, and if he's 305 pounds, and maybe he is or isn't, but
He might be.
that dude moves. Like you said,
I feel like he's taller than me. I'm 6'2.5". So
you are?
I would say he's got to be 6'3". He's a big man. Like, he's deceptively big. When you look at him from across the locker room, you're like, oh, he's a big dude. Then you get next to him, you're like, holy crap, this guy's huge.
Yeah, holy shirts and pants. And that's honestly probably what a lot of opponents are realizing is just how big and quick he is. And
So
I think,
strong.
I think that's the part is, and people gave Aaron Donald comps to him as far as the ability to just wreak havoc inside. Now, Aaron Donald's obviously one of the best players to ever play the position.
Well, they trained
Does
together, right?
train, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, they
So
do.
that was what
Yeah,
we're going to
they
get
do.
into. So
Similar body builds, I feel like. They're very, they're both, I mean, I've only been around Donald one time, but I feel like they're very similar in their stature, their frames, like their thickness. Like,
They're not like, I like it. They're like linebackers. Like they're built like linebackers, and you're like, how do you get how are you disruptive on that side? Like, they're slimmer, so you're like, can you play inside? And then you watch them play inside, and you're like, you should not be as powerful and strong as you are for that size.
You look at guys like, for us, you look at Mike Pierce. You're like, that's a D lineman. You're like, that's a D tackle. That guy is all meat. He is all ass.
You gotta move him.
Yeah, that guy is.
how do you
beast.
move him?
Oh, you don't. I mean, that's why Ben was so good.
Right.
Like, one of the
That's why
things
he's
that
getting
Mike
paid.
has been so good is he's so big. He's got a low center of gravity. I mean, his lower body is insane, dude. I work out with him every day at the facility, so this guy's an absolute tank.
Can we talk about that? What was that stretch of like 3 games when Michael Pierce this year became like the greatest defensive player to ever play? It felt like every game it was like 7 times. It's like, and Michael Pierce with another play in the backfield.
That Arizona game,
on,
that Arizona game was his best game of the year. He was everywhere.
Yeah, I remember watching that one.
he's one of those players where, you know, he flies under the radar, but when he is on and playing ball, the defense can run behind him because it literally is, they can't run up the middle now because Pierce is going to be there. And now you keep contain and they have to run in the middle and you're done.
He's always been really good. I think injuries, you know, kind of took their
last
toll
year
on
he
him.
only played 2022.
Yeah.
He tore his tricep in week 3.
But he was really good those 3 weeks.
Yeah,
he was
played,
really
the
good.
2.5 games he actually got out there. But back to Mattabeeks, I think you're right. He doesn't look like that Mike Pierce, or even for before that we had Brandon Williams. But I mean, the dude is so fast off the line. Because I'll run. He'll do like our D stay or whatever on punt return, punt safe, and just in practice. And this is like a glorified walkthrough at this point because it's like Friday afternoon, you know. And he just like gets off the ball so fast, and he gets his hands in your chest, and you're just like, what even just happened to me? And so and how strong he is with his grip and stuff. He's just, I think he really kind of matured this year, got into more of a leadership role. And I think, you know, I always go back to Roquan. I think it brought it out of him a little bit more, and it allowed him to level up his game. And now we're seeing that. And he's well deserving of this contract, and I'm happy for him. Congrats, brother.
And then throw some your way.
Yeah, for real. If you want to just, you know, if you want to just leave like a 1 or 2 just in my locker,
1 or 2.
I won't be upset. I mean, it's not a big deal.
Whatever you want to give.
You
Whatever
have
is
his
fine.
Venmo. You have his
It's
Venmo.
up to you. It's your discretion.
Yeah. So we'll see what will make that happen. Why don't we jump to another player? We'll talk about the Russell Wilson stuff for those that have missed earlier. There's been a lot of moves, at least in the last, I'd say Russell Wilson was announced last night initially.
Very
Yeah,
late.
last night.
So-
Very late.
So we're going to dive more into that. But if you're new to the stream right now, we're doing a live stream NFL special. We're doing the Ryan Ripken Show at 6 p.m. to talk a lot more about baseball, specifically tonight, including some big storylines, including the Yankees ace. That looks like there's some trouble in New York with Garrett Cole. We'll touch on that more on tonight. This is all about the tampering period in the NFL free agency. Some moves have been made. So let's go to another one, Nick. You know him. That's why we're bringing it up. DeAndre Swift is going to the Chicago Bears. On a 3-year, $24 million deal. I believe it was 16 million guaranteed. Why don't you touch a little bit on what Swift showed last year, but then also how this could be a really good fit for a guy that really had a prove it year and we got this contract.
Yeah, I think, you know, I played in college with DeAndre for 2 years, actually, 2017, 2018. I was really impressed with him this past year in Philly, and I was listening to the pod on my drive in, and Kevin kind of talked on it a little bit, how he kind of got swept under the rug with how bad that the Eagles fell apart there towards the end. But I remember watching some of these games, like especially early on in the season, and just how explosive he was. He was getting like 10 yards a carry. It felt like every time he touched the ball, they were getting a first down, and how much energy he brought to the offense that they were kind of lackluster. I mean, the majority of the year, they weren't super great. So I'm stoked for him to see him get kind of a little bit of love that, you know, maybe he felt like he deserved throughout in his career. But I'm excited for him to go to Chicago. I think they have a lot of talent. I know you guys were talking about it earlier. Interesting to see what they're going to do with Justin, kind of reuniting Justin and DeAndre. Also played together in college for a year, but I think he's a great fit for them. I really do. I mean, he's, you know, I think it's kind of full circle how he kind of got replaced in Detroit by Montgomery, and now he's going to Chicago where Montgomery was before. So it is very interesting. I think it'll be good for him.
I hadn't thought about that. He and Fields had played together at Georgia.
Yeah, 2018. Yeah, we were all on the team. Justin didn't do a whole lot. I think his claim to fame at Georgia was the poorly executed fake punt we ran against the Alabama Crimson Tide in the SEC championship game. But they definitely were teammates, and they're definitely boys. So if they keep Justin Fields in Chicago, I think it'll be a great fit. They already have chemistry there. They already know each other really well. So, and I'm excited for DeAndre. I think it's another opportunity for him to build on what he kind of did this year and really establish himself as maybe not a top tier guy, but definitely that 1A, you know, 2, whatever, however you want to call it. Definitely up there though.
Yeah, I mean, this whole, I don't know, I guess this whole period's fascinating to me on so many levels. I think, Kevin, you touched on it. We thought of the names of the running backs that might have come to decisions today were going to be early on. Maybe it was going to be Saquon or Josh Jacobs, but it's really these other players. And quite frankly, you know, the move last year, you mentioned David Montgomery, the irony, right? That DeAndre Swift's going to Chicago. But Montgomery was a signing that proved to be so vital for what the Lions wanted to do. And that was kind of swept under the rug a little bit as well.
Yeah.
But now Swift's going to an opportunity where the offense is going to be exciting. We don't know what's going to happen yet with Caleb and Justin Fields and that whole scenario. But that offense now, Swift, you got Swift, Johnson, and Herbert could be the 3 backs.
Yep.
Komet, DJ Moore. It's going to be very interesting.
Some serious weapons over there.
They do.
They need a guy. You know, Justin showed some promise at the end of the year last year. I thought he played better towards the end of the season, but you know, whatever they do, they just need a stout leader at quarterback, and I think that offense could be really good.
Well, we're going to find out what the Bears are going to do in a little bit.
Yeah. We're also getting rumblings that the Eagles might be willing to go over $12 million per year for Saquon.
Oh,
so
wow. Yeah, ain't coming here.
Well,
they definitely need a running back. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah.
So Swift was their only guy.
So if you're tuning into the stream right now, hit that like and subscribe button if you're new to the channel. Ryan Ripken Show. We're on X and on YouTube. What do you got here, Zach?
No, suddenly I was actually reading this question from Alex Hewitt about, are there any free agent moves that a divisional rival could/are projected to make that would raise some concerns? It had me thinking about, we haven't really touched on Jerry Jeudy going to the Browns.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, we forgot about that.
Mac Jones going to the Jaguars. Like, there's a lot of movement that I'm kind of just
for pennies. Jeudy goes for a 5th and a 6th. I mean, was that the same deal Cooper went for too? Was Cooper a 5th and a 6th too? Or maybe he was just
Jerry Jeudy went to the Browns.
Yeah.
I love that we get to break
what's
news
going on with
Nick
that offense, bro?
So that
That's
happened.
insane.
So that I think that's the part. So that happened, I think, a couple days ago over the weekend.
Saturday,
But that's the moves right now. It's like, oh yeah, by the way, Jerry Jeudy got traded, because then it's erased from your minds because Russell Wilson signs last night. Then you have all these other moves that are going. So let's talk about this real quickly then on the AFC North landscape at the moment, shall we? Let's do that. Russell Wilson's with the Steelers.
Yeah.
Yep, huge ad.
And then you have the Browns having Jerry Judy's being paired now with Amari Cooper and Elijah Moore, if I'm not mistaken, and Nick Chubb. What do you got, Kevin?
And then we're talking AFC North. The Bengals just re-signed Drew Sample to a 3-year contract. Their tight end.
Good player. Good player.
He's a really good blocking tight end, isn't he?
He started he was like kind of a special teams guy. So like I knew him early on in both of our careers, but he's a very solid player.
So right now, let's talk about that. Is there another piece that would help? I mean, there's a lot of pieces out there that could help these teams, right? But I think the biggest move is the Steelers, I think, are going to be better with Russell Wilson as their quarterback. I think that is very fair to say.
Yeah, I think that's a no-brainer.
That is the biggest one. And then the Jerry Jeudy move solely rests on if Deshaun Watson's going to play quarterback.
Yeah.
I think that's a big part, unless that Joe Flacco comes back and leads the Browns to the promised land, which
he could. You never know.
you never know. So I think we'll have to see if there are any other moves, Alex, but I do think the Steelers automatically are better because of that. Their defense is elite. If Russell takes care of the football, I think the Steelers are going to be in a lot of games.
I think if the Browns stay healthy, that's a good football team.
Yeah, if they stay healthy,
if Deshaun can play 17 games, their defense is very good, and they have, I mean, with Jeudy and Cooper and Njoku, and if depending on what happens with Nick Chubb, they have one of the most elite skill position groups in the NFL.
They're also six deep on their O-line.
That's true, and they have a stout O-line.
So, hey, can we maybe you get a poll up? Zach, do you have a poll up right now?
No.
Can we put one? Maybe put up a poll. Which division rival has the most, or with all the moves that happened, what is the one that I think Ravens fans would have the most kind about with the things that happened?
Yeah, I think
biggest threat. Good answer.
For me, I feel like talk about Cleveland. I think if I kind of mentioned it earlier, if they can get one of these top defensive linemen, that they have a huge hole there. So whether it's Armstead or Wilkins or even like DJ Reader, who I know is coming off an injury for Cincinnati, but they can get one of those guys. That defense is already scary. It becomes a lot scarier if they get a stout defensive lineman, especially because we don't know what they're going to do with their other patchwork guys they had, but they really only have Dalvin Tomlinson there, who is on a big contract. So I don't know if they can afford 2 top defensive linemen, but if they were to get one of those guys, that's pretty scary.
Yeah, I mean, and I think we've realized if you can control the trenches, you can really just wreak havoc on so many. And that's a way also if you do have a weaker secondary. And I'm not saying that's what the Browns have in this circumstance. They have a very talented secondary. But when you are able to then wreak havoc, especially on the interior part of the line, it creates so much more problems. And it can help then with a secondary that is lacking in some other areas. What was Rick was saying? It's a good point, Rick. Cleveland has had more number 1 draft picks in history. It's only a matter of time. They are so dangerous. Kevin Stefanski's done a tremendous job. I think the one knock then for the Browns is, can you just get over the hump, whether it is injury related or just finding a way? And everyone thought that Baker Mayfield was going to be the answer there. And then he got,
how many of those number 1 picks are there? Still there, and what came from those number 1 picks? Because I feel like a lot of them aren't there anymore. But what came from?
Why don't we go
getting
back?
Rid of them.
We'll look at them real quickly. But the biggest one, obviously, Myles Garrett was the one that.
Well, he's a no-brainer.
I mean, and he is.
Even Nick Chubb was a 2nd-round draft pick.
Yeah,
technically, I mean, he was the first pick of the 2nd round, but still, he was a 2nd-round pick. But yeah, Myles Garrett obviously was a no-brainer.
Yep. Sorry, I'm trying to pull up the list of Cleveland Browns draft picks. But I think that everyone always would laugh and be like, they're going to mess it up somehow. Somehow the Browns are going to find a way to Brown. Except this past year is the first time it felt different. And maybe the opinion changed when Joe Flacco even went there because so many people, surprisingly, not people in Baltimore love him, but it was a lot of people outside were like, they love them some Joe Flacco. All right. So let's look over since 2007. Okay. And that's obviously way back, but they had Joe Thomas and Brady Quinn that year. Then Alex Mack, Joe Hayden, Phil Taylor, Trent Richardson, Brandon Weeden in 2012. That was a moment. And then obviously you have the Johnny Manziel, Cameron Irving. But let's go to 2017 because this is where it kind of gets interesting for them. Myles Garrett, Jabril Peppers, David Njoku, all in 2017. Then you had Baker Mayfield and Denzel Ward. Denzel Ward, great player.
Still, yeah, he's a stud.
Then Jedrick Wills and Greg Newsome II. And then they traded their picks to Philadelphia or Houston, or Philadelphia then traded to get Jordan Davis. Then Detroit selected Jahmyr Gibbs with the pick that would have initially was going to be the Cleveland Browns. So many possibilities there. But I think after the 2017 year, what you're seeing, pretty successful draft class.
Very successful.
So Another part, and people have missed it here, David Bakhtiari was released. Would you guys want to see him in Baltimore? We talked about this for a second. Do you think it's too much injury risk?
Well, it's too much injury risk, and I just don't think, one, you already have Ronnie Stanley. You're not going to move Ronnie Stanley to the right tackle, and I don't think Bakhtiari is going to want to move to the right tackle. So I think if you just have two guys that Bakhtiari is going to get paid. I think that's another thing. He is going to get paid. He's still a top. When on the field, we talked about health is wealth, but when on the field, he's a top 3 left tackle in the game. So he's going to get paid. And I think someone's going to give up a pretty penny.
I think he's going to do everything he can to end up in.
Yeah, he's going to
Yeah,
go to the Jets.
Jets seems so.
He'll take
so
a pay cut to go to the Jets.
I was literally about to say, I think he would take a pay cut to go back and play.
I mean, we've heard from Mecole Hardman apparently the Jets just revolve around what does Aaron Rodgers want right now, and that's kind of their philosophy. So maybe this is just another one of his boys coming to it'll be him, Randall Cobb, and Aaron Rodgers just chilling.
You think Randall will make the team again?
If Aaron Rodgers tells him that he's making
Alan-
the team.
I guess if he tells Woody,
Lazard.
tells Woody that if we need him and Alan Lazard.
Yeah, it's
Is it the Green Bay Packers in New York now? The New York Packers?
It literally is. He probably tried to see if Jordy Nelson wants to come back.
Yeah, it might be Green Bay of the East at this
exactly.
point in time. And I know a lot of people are a little bit frustrated, but I think everyone with the Packers is very happy with what's going on.
They also call the Jets the New York Ravens because of how many guys Joe Douglas has brought over there.
Yeah.
So
that's true.
It's kind of a make or break year for the Jets in this scenario with Robert Saleh and Douglas and everything that's happened because you invested so much in that window of time for winning with Rodgers is closing more and more. And it's not like the AFC isn't loaded with
Did
top
they didn't
player
restructure
teams.
Aaron? This is his last year, right? He signed a 2-year.
Yes.
I think
Yes.
So I
Yes.
think the time for them is now.
It seems like,
So
whoa, what are we up? What do you got, Kevin?
We got another Titans signing. Titans are signing Denver Broncos center Lloyd Cushenberry to a deal.
Ooh, interesting.
Let me see how
report
this,
that.
Let me make
Interesting.
what's this noise?
Lloyd Cush-
I like the other one better.
I know, but I think I might have disabled it from hitting it too hard.
Okay.
Oh no, it's
No,
back.
back.
It still works.
It says what the things are on the little screen.
Really? I'm missing that right there on the shit. But anyway, Cushenberry, another signing for the Titans. Obviously, they are trying to make some new moves. But we didn't even touch on earlier with Tony Pollard going there. We knew that Derrick Henry was not going to go to the Titans. The name, if it's not Baltimore with Derrick Henry, by the way, is it going to be Dallas? Are we going to sit here and Dallas is going to get Derrick Henry?
They need a running back.
I'm
now.
seeing from
or Zeke's going back.
Josina Anderson. Let me pull her up real quick. She just commented about something. She just tweeted out, my understanding is the Cowboys are not currently expected to be at the top of the running back compensation market wise in free agency. Dallas is expected to continue to survey the market within their range and, of course, within the draft accordingly. So I don't know if obviously
That's
it could
their
just be a
MO,
smoke.
I feel like.
That could be just a smoke screen for them to be like, no, what, us?
There
Trying to-
were all those Derrick Henry bought like a house in Dallas or something. Was that all that? So it feels like Dallas and Baltimore have been the two biggest like landing spots people have said for Saquon also, or for Derrick Henry, excuse me. But we also got another one here. The Broncos are signing Dolphins safety Brandon Jones to a 3-year, $20 million contract. So starting to come in. Dorrance Armstrong, the Cowboys defensive lineman, close to going to the Commanders. So things are starting to pick up a little bit here.
And Brandon's with us on it right now as well. He's right there with you. he is locked on, just like Kevin Oysterstriker.
That's my government name.
And so if you're just tuning in, we're doing a live stream. It's NFL Reaction Monday with everything going on. So if you're new to the channel, hit that like and subscribe button. If you are on X, hit that follow button. It's at Ryan Ripken, at Chaos Striker 34, X-less or Twitterless Nick, and Zach at Zach Bollinger 18.
Good shit.
All right. So many thoughts, so many possibilities here that could continue to go on.
Yeah, I mean, I'm seeing a lot of people just kind of talk about how, yes, I think a few bigger names have gone off the board. I think Tony Pollard's probably and DeAndre Swift are the biggest names, especially from what people were hoping we'd see today. But there are still just so many top guys still out there. Obviously, and I feel like the running back market is kind of what everyone's waiting for. Like, it's funny when I get a notification that someone's signing and it's like Cushenberry, like an offensive lineman. I'm like, Yeah, that's not what you got something, Kevin?
Yeah, we got a big one. We got a big one.
As I'm saying, no big ones.
The Jaguars are signing Bills wide receiver Gabe Davis to a 3-year deal.
Jaguars.
Wow.
The downfall of the Bills continues.
So what is that? It's Christian Kirk, Gabe Davis. Is A. Jones still there? Or is he a free agent?
I think he's
still there. Maybe.
But
I
Christian Kirk and Gabe Davis are the two big. I can't say Gabe Davis. There we go.
There you go.
Gabe Davis and Christian Kirk, the big two there in Jacksonville. Trevor Lawrence and now Mac Jones.
Yeah, so now I think that completely takes out the realm of possibility of them bringing back Calvin Ridley, although we kind of assumed.
Kind of knew that one.
Yeah, because if they did re-sign him, they had to give up a 2nd-round pick to the Falcons?
Yeah, it was I think it was conditional, but I think it was a second.
Yeah, so it was if they gave up whatever the 5th-round pick, but if they reached an extension with Calvin Ridley, they had to send the 5th turned into a 2nd-round pick to go to Atlanta. And I think after this past year, Jacksonville was like, yeah, we can't give up a 2nd-round pick to bring him back for another year or two. And here we actually, Chief, what do you guys think will happen with PQ, Patrick Queen, this offseason? I'm kind of under the assumption he's going to Seattle until something else.
Notice.
Yeah, like until I'm told he's not. I'm kind of like the Geno Stones, the Patrick Queens. It's like, just go with Mike McDonald. Like, I feel like that's just the easiest, like, just they're going there. But I know the Texans have also had, I'm not sure if it's talks, but I've had interest in him. That would be a really cool one with D'Amico Ryans, see what they could do. But I think right now it'd be between those two.
Yeah, well, since you're here, Nick, this is a good time to talk about some Ravens that people would like to see in Baltimore, but the Matt BK deal, if we're going to sign a big player, keep a big player in Baltimore, makes it seem more challenging for PQ to stay. But it just feels like PQ to the Hawks, Mike McDonald, the system, the fit, everything kind of seems right with that.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. I don't think anybody's wondering if he's going to come back here or not. I just think he played too well for them to pay him what he's worth.
Yeah, why did he have to play so damn well?
I don't think they can afford him and Roquan and Beeks.
Yeah.
And Kyle's coming up soon, so I think the little that I know about what's going on with him, I think Seahawks would be a good fit for him. Having a guy, Billy Wagner, still being there.
Well, they are saying, though, that Billy might be on the way out.
Bobby Wagner.
Sorry, not Billy.
Yeah.
Billy Wagner is just down at spring training.
Yeah, I was thinking about Bobby Wagner. Yes, not Billy Wagner.
Well, Billy Wagner, by the way, threw fuzz. He threw 100 from the left side.
Yeah,
terrifying.
Oh, I know. I'd never faced him, but I know him.
But so Bobby Wagner might not be returning to the Seahawks. Yeah. But it's an opening, but I think making linebackers great again. I think we're seeing the value of teams with very excellent linebacker play. You want to go to the 49ers, you look at Greenlaw and Fred Warner when Greenlaw went down in the Super Bowl, game changer. Ravens, Roquan and Patrick Queen. It feels like that movement now is coming back to have versatile linebackers that can really transform your defense.
Seattle actually needs 2 linebackers and 2 safeties because Jordan Brooks is also a free agent who went 1 pick before Patrick did in the 2020 draft. And then talk about a guy there, at least Quandre Diggs the other week. And then they need another starting safety because Jamal Adams isn't there anymore. They also got rid of him. So I think a lot of people are kind of putting the pieces together that maybe one of, if not maybe both of Geno Stone and Patrick Queen could be going over there and following Mike to Seattle, which wouldn't shock me. I mean, it wouldn't shock me at all.
There.
I'm realizing now that Gabe Davis is off the board, I was just looking through the wide receivers left. And because we saw guys, it was actually supposed to be an incredible wide receiver year when we thought it was going to have T. Higgins, Mike Evans, Michael Pittman Jr. Is the biggest name on the wide receiver market right now Hollywood Brown?
I think it's Ridley, then Brown. I think it's Ridley, Brown, 2.
Well, actually, funny enough, this is just PFF has number 4 is Hollywood and 5 is Ridley. But I agree. I think they're very much. You
can flip flop them.
Yeah, but it is funny. You know, so many people would haven't really talked about Hollywood Brown being like a top target of many big teams, but that could be a guy that gets a decent contract somewhere.
I mean, I just think Gabe Davis, I'm not a huge Gabe Davis guy. I don't think he's bad, but we saw inconsistencies where it felt like, and I felt like if you had him in fantasy football, you kind of felt this frustration, but I think anybody could feel it where he would have one like 9 catch, 180 yard, 2 touchdown performance, and the next week literally not have a catch on like 1 target.
He was Tyler Lockett. in fantasy.
Well, no, but Tyler Lockett at least would finish in like as a top 12 receiver somehow to finish out the year because he'd have a 45-point game.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is he's very much like Tyler Lockett in the fantasy aspect of you look down and you're like, oh, he just scored me 50 points. Let's go. And then you put him in the next week and you're like, he only caught one catch for like 6 yards, and you're like, did he not score 50 last week?
No.
And clearly Gabe Davis was not happy in Buffalo. He made it kind of clear that he was ready to move on. And I guess now when you have Gabe Davis and you add Mac Jones, it feels like the Jags are going to take it over the top now. With
You think Mac was the piece that they were missing there?
I think it is. I think that's going to be the move. But talk about turn of events. That Mac Jones went from he has that strut on the NFL draft day, which like why wouldn't you be happy and why wouldn't you believe that everything was going to be ahead of you? And then nothing came together there in New England. Now you're going to be presumably backing up Trevor Lawrence. But Gabe Davis is a big play threat. I don't know though. To me, does it change your opinions on the Jacksonville Jaguars? I like Gabe Davis. Gabe Davis's big playability. I think he has all the makings to do that. But is he going to get more volume there than he would have gotten in Buffalo? I think it's kind of the same.
It's a push. I mean,
it's going to be he's going to be in the same role.
Ridley versus Davis, I think it's pretty push worthy. I mean, maybe he reaches another level we didn't see in Buffalo, but I would have probably had the same reaction. Well, I don't know if I'm going to have the reaction that Zach just had.
I was going to say
because we got one of the big whales off the board.
Wait a minute.
Hold on.
Look at that.
Yeah, the Ravens got mad at
my God,
Ravens got mad at BK on a steal because Christian Wilkins is heading to the Raiders for 4 years, $110 million.
That's a big one.
That's
a big one.
That's a lot of money there.
84.75 guaranteed.
Oh my! The Ravens got such a steal for Matabike.
Yeah. Oh my God!
That's gotta be like Eric DeCosta knew that he had to get that deal done before these guys reset the market.
Yeah, chestnut checkers.
Yeah,
I think, and we appreciate.
You're not wrong.
It's so
100%.
True. Yeah, so
Eric's the king at that.
He is. So you know what? EDC amazing. We all have the appreciation for him. Yep, there it is. EDC appreciation.
He knew what time it was.
He knew what time it was.
Time to cook.
Christian Wilkins, dude, he's got to be one of the best athletes I've ever seen.
Okay, yeah. So can we get a little Christian Wilkins context here because you've gotten to see that guy real up close and personal.
Dude, the absolute hardest game I ever played in my life was Miami Thursday Night Football 2021. Miserable game. It was it was in November. We had been up here, been freezing cold for the last month. We go down there, it's 85 degrees on a Thursday night, short week, 25 or 30 degrees hotter than it is up here. Everyone's miserable at warm-ups. We're all just gassed. This guy lines up across from me on punt, okay? I'm thinking no big deal. Well, somebody cheap shots him or something, hits him in the rib cage or something. And not me.
Just to clarify that.
And we're running. This is the first punt of the game. Where I'm running down the field and he kind of crosses me and he goes, I'm coming for you, boy. And I was like, oh God. I guess he thought I cheap shotted him. Did not. And so
that on the record.
Yeah, I did not.
More.
Just in case we play the Raiders. And we punted 7 times. That was the most I'd ever punted in a game. And he proceeded to rush the absolute dog shit out of me for 6 plays, the rest of the game, basically. And I just remember every time, bro, oh my God, put me in the dirt 2 or 3 times. He would block me the whole play. I'm like, dude, you're way bigger and faster and stronger than me. What are you doing?
Yeah, you shouldn't have cheap shotted him, Nick. That's all. Jackass.
One time I did get the best of him because he tried to cross my face and I pushed him down, or he slipped and I landed on top of him. It was our last punt. And he just throws his leg up and trips me in the middle of the field. And I get up and turn around. I'm like, you got to be shitting me, dude.
Did you give him a little the too small?
Yeah. That starts the thing about for me, I love talking shit. Don't get me wrong. I love talking shit, but I know my limits. And when there's a guy like that, who can just at will demolish me, there's no chance in hell I'm going to be all right, thanks, man. Appreciate you, sir. Thank you.
Yeah.
Andrew,
he's also a great mic'd up guy.
Oh yeah. Well, he's a good he's a good person. He's got a good personality. He just, I've never been more defeated. When I walked on the plane, this is kind of when I earned my stripes with the team, I guess. Anthony Levine was sitting in front, the older guy sitting in the front of the plane. Yeah. And so I get on the plane, dude. I am exhausted. That was my first Thursday night game ever. I'd never had that experience before. I got beat up, so tired. I'm like walking on the plane. Co-cap stops me. He could see I was visibly exhausted. He stops me, puts me on the shoulder. He's like, "You earned your stripes tonight, Rook." And I was like, "Thanks, dude. Thanks, bro."
That's awesome.
Yeah, don't you? You're a good kid, Nick. We think you are. And Christian Wilkins might have thought that you were.
I'll see him again this year because we play the Raiders. So thank you.
Oh, there you go. So we're going to find out more about it. So Christian Wilkins, though, going to the Raiders. And Antonio Pierce, they're trying to build a new culture out there.
Yeah.
A new
they got a good thing going. I like
Tom Telesco, first big move that he's made. They still need to figure out who's going to play quarterback for the Raiders. But that defense seemed like –
But that's a stout middle of the defense.
Yeah, I mean, Crosby.
With Crosby, that D-line just became one of the best in the league, I think.
I think that their toughness is starting to show more, and it's embodying with this move of what they're doing, and plus their head coach.
Yeah, Antonio Pierce, that's what he lives and breathes is this toughness, get in your face. I want to go out there and physically, manhandle you. And I think this is the perfect signing.
Yeah. It fits great.
And so, so if you're just tuning in, Ryan Ripken Show, we're doing a live NFL reaction of the tampering period, which is essentially free agency is open, but it doesn't technically open until Wednesday. We have our next stream for the baseball stream. We're going to do that around 6 p.m. tonight, mainly talking about a lot that's going on down in spring training and some storylines. And Eric in San Francisco, appreciate you splitting up the football and baseball streams. Of course, I think it's just too much to cover. So when we said, why not do this all at one, or why not just split this up? Because there's really 2 days in this NFL offseason. They're going to have a lot of this movement. It's the tampering period, and it's going to be the NFL draft. Everything else is kind of going to be more dormant. Baseball, there's so much that's kind of just starting to build up. So we're going to touch on a ton of that tonight. So if you're new to the channel, hit that like and subscribe button. We'll be back on at 6 p.m. to shoot the shit yet. Again, we also have this in audio form. So if you're missing anything, we put this out on podcast platforms, Spotify, Apple, Amazon, wherever you get your podcast. That is what we're doing. And so far, if you guys have missed some moves, the last 24 hours, Russell Wilson to the Steelers, probably a big one. DeAndre Swift to the Bears. The other running back, which is Tony Pollard to the Titans.
Yep.
Jonathan Grenard, the defensive end pass rusher, is going to the Vikings. We just saw Christian Wilkins go to the Raiders. Mac Jones traded to the Jags. He's going to put them over the top now.
They have Tyree Wilson, too. I don't know if you said him, but that defensive line for the Raiders is going to be just scary.
So good.
We're now getting we're getting
what are you here to say, Kevin?
That the Jaguars did get Gabe. Oh my God, Gabe Davis.
Okay, let's do a exercise real quickly. Hold on.
I say Gabe
Davis.
I say Gabe Davis for some reason. But anyway, they got Gabe Davis, and they're also still trying to get Calvin Ridley back, apparently.
Oh,
so that's
okay.
Which I would like. I would like a lot more if they were to get Ridley back.
Yeah, then I think it's a upgrade, but I don't think, like we said earlier, I don't think right now it's necessarily. I think it's more of a lateral move. Jalen Ramsey actually just commented and said Christian and Max about to go crazy this year. So
he's not wrong.
Yeah.
No, a little love from his former teammate.
Yeah.
He really is. And also, too, I just realized in this, Kelly, yes, we are on. And I tried to put a message out on YouTube on the community post. We posted on social media that we're doing 2 streams today. So we are going to talk a lot about baseball at 6 p.m. We're doing the one at noon because of the fact that there's just so much happening in the NFL, and we didn't want to have all of it rushed into one show. So we're splitting it up into 2 today, which also kind of leads into, if we're talking any more Ravens stuff, Kevin, so far, as long as you are also our Kevin Schefter as well. Any Ravens cuts or restructures happening so far today? I haven't seen.
I haven't seen any. I guess the one, and we actually, Tyus Bowser talked to Aaron Wilson yesterday. He said he's feeling good. He's going to be playing. Would love to come back to Baltimore, but that seems to be the most likely cut if we're talking about that. Save him $5.5 million. I don't really know what went on. I'm not sure anybody outside of Bowser and the team knows what went on between him and the injury with the knee. missed the entire season. Really good player when he's healthy. I think he's grown a lot over the course of his NFL career and is really versatile. I love what he brings to the table. But I think if you're talking about a cut, that's the guy that I'd probably highlight if we had to pick one name. But so far, nothing. Ravens are right up against the cap after getting the Madubuike deal done. But they're probably going to create some more space. And sometimes those deals and restructures just take some time to come out to the general public anyway.
Yeah,
So
I mean,
it's already done and they just haven't released it yet.
And they're gonna have things are gonna happen, right? It's just that's just how it works. The business of it, it's so crazy. I still look at this. The NFL free agency and Zach mentioned earlier, and MLB free agency are two totally different fucking things.
So different.
It could not be further different. Because still there are MLB studs that are not on a roster at this moment in time. And then here we are, Christian Wilkins, not even an hour and a half, 1 hour and 33 minutes into the tampering period is going on a
That's when they
massive
released
deal.
when the deal was done.
Yeah. Imagine if you would have told someone back in October that Russell Wilson signs before any of the big guys. Snell, you have who else? Montgomery. I mean, like we're saying, you had Russell Wilson, the NFL, sign 17 days before the MLB season starts, and we still have some of the top guys out there. It's just two completely different ways that these leagues handle.
Well, and Russell
free
Wilson
agents.
was starting games for the Denver Broncos. Well,
Yeah,
let's
When-
also
yeah,
mention
when
this.
free agency started for baseball.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that isn't that
When this starts in November or October?
right after 5 days after the World Series ends, I
Okay.
believe is when it officially opens up.
Officially open. That's
But-
pretty quick turnaround.
It's very
And
quick.
then no one signs.
But like,
for
I feel
months.
like it's not as I mean, you had Shohei's deal, but
And
Yeah,
then
that was
unfortunately, I think Boros might have won with this, but we'll get into that at
Yeah,
the 6
yeah.
o'clock hour.
At the 6 o'clock hour, we will be talking
we'll
a
save
lot
that.
of baseball. We will table
we're
that
just
for
waiting on our
future-
next football deal. So we're
We're
giving you guys teasers to keep you
Yeah.
going.
Go up.
Oh,
we got
no,
one?
it's not a move that has happened, or it's a move that already did. My friend
Oh, no.
Gabe Davis.
There we
There
go.
you go.
There we go. 3 years, 39 million. That incentives could push up to 50.
Holy crap, 11 million in incentives. Wow.
Big deal.
Yeah, I'm assuming that's probably why he went there, was such an incentive driven.
Oh, yeah.
Well, you got to think, dude. He went from New York to Florida.
yeah.
No income
So
tax.
Taxes and weather.
taxes.
Those are two
Yeah.
great reasons
Yeah.
to get out of Buffalo. Buffalo's got to be the worst place. I mean, the weather-wise, obviously, Bill's Mafia is insane, but
Well, it's got to
It's
be.
Buffalo, New York.
That's the funny part, is when people talk about like home field advantage and stuff. It's even if you're the home team, it's just got to suck playing there. Like when it's like
yeah,
these guys got to come and play in negative 10-degree weather.
but
And it's
they
like,
thrive on it, dude. Those
Yeah.
fans love
oh
it.
well, the fans do. But I'm saying
And
as a
it-
player, you got to be like,
Yeah.
damn, like it is. Like I would
No,
prefer
you're-
if it's
yeah.
50 degrees too. Like I
we
know
played
they're
there.
playing.
We played there in 2020, and that was when they
Marcus
let like
Peters.
they let like
Oh, yeah.
12,000 fans in the stadium during COVID, and technically it was 2021, and I didn't even play. I was in the box, and we got off the plane, and I had never seen snow like that before in my life. It looked like someone cut open like a Beanie Baby and like dumped it on you. And the wind was like rattling the glass on the box. I'm like, dude, this is how I knew it was shitty. I was watching Sam Cook warm up, 15-year. This was his 15th year. So the guy's been around. He's played in some bad weather games. He punts a ball in warm-ups, and it literally apexes and lands right at his feet. Full
Oh,
punt.
my God.
I'm not even kidding you. He punted like he was going
Yeah,
like a real punt, and it like hits the apex and just comes straight back to his
because of the
feet.
wind.
Yeah, because it was so windy.
That's insane.
Well,
Punters deserve love
anyways.
too.
but punters
Yeah.
deserve all the hey,
Yeah.
special
We
teams.
need some. We have James Winchester, but that's a re-signing that doesn't count.
Yeah,
It's
we
not
need
free
some
agency.
special teams guys. to
Yeah,
get
we
paid
need some
out
more
here.
life, dude. Those
Get-
deals
Where are the
get
big
done,
long
though.
snapper contracts?
Yeah,
That's what I'm talking
those deals
about.
get done. I mean, those deals get done at weird times. I remember last year when I was going through it, I got done on Thursday. We're like the last ones that they think about.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, I went through the free agency process last year, and most people that we spoke to were like, yeah, we love you, but we got all these other things that we got to worry about first. We'll call you at the end of the week. I'm like, all right, well, I didn't make it to the end of the week because I resigned back with the
Yeah,
Ravens, but
not a big deal.
it wasn't until Thursday morning. I came in here Thursday morning and signed. So we're definitely the ones that don't get hit till the end.
Yeah. So I think right now it makes sense. Right now, the guys that,
Well, the big hits, like the big money guys, they have to get those dudes, especially when they make deals like the one we just saw with Christian Wilkins. They have to make those deals so that they know how much money that they can spend on the smaller ones, right? Do you just wait to get a guy out of the draft where you pay him rookie minimum, or do you have an extra $1.5 million sitting around that you can go get a veteran, whether it's kicker, punter, or long snapper, or like special teams player? Those guys are usually the ones that go at the end.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Whenever you sign, we're still starting the 2024 Nick Moore Pro Bowl campaign. It's already started now.
Oh, it started.
I actually mentioned it to Cedric down at spring training. Cedric Mullins, friend of the show, friend of both Nick Moore and I as well. Cedric's in on an all-star appearance for him and a Pro Bowl appearance for you.
That's the only way we do it.
That's the only way we do it down south. Yeah. So, and for those that are just joining, yes, Johnny Wilkins to the Raiders. We just discussed that.
No, Christian.
What did I say?
Johnny.
Well, Johnny takes on a lot of different forms here.
Exactly.
But if you guys are tuning in, we're hanging out live stream. We are, goodness, I guess we've been on for now. We're on at noon. We've been hanging around. There has been a lot of moves that have happened. Brandon Jones, another one to the Broncos. We obviously Christian Wilkins to the Raiders. Gabe Davis, Kevin, there you go. Gabe Davis to the Jacksonville Jaguars. DeAndre Swift to the Bears. Tony Pollard to the Titans. Still a name that's out there, Derrick Henry. I wanted to actually go back to this conversation real quickly. I had it pulled up. So I see Hollywood going to Tampa. We didn't even talk about the Baker Mayfield re-signed for
Did Hollywood go to Tampa?
No, but saying about the opportunity that he could see.
I was like, whoa.
Let's calm down, guys. He'll cinnamon. But with Mike Evans re-signing, do you guys see Hollywood going to Tampa, or where do you see Hollywood Brown?
Do we see him as a number one?
Well, I think
is he a number one?
I think that's been the debate. I don't think he's going to be paid like a number one.
I've called him the best number 2 in the league.
I think he's a really good number 2. Somewhere like Tampa could work with Mike Evans.
Yeah.
But they also still have Chris Godwin
still there.
This is true.
So what? Okay, if it's so, where,
maybe not Tampa.
Maybe bring him to Tennessee. They're spending spree over there. You put Hopkins and Marquise together. I think they're not going to move on from Hopkins. It was a 2-year deal.
Mm-hmm.
DeAndre Hopkins and Marquise Brown for Will Levis in year 2. You put Tony Pollard and Cushenberry in that offense. The AFC South is going to be a dogfight this year, especially with the Colts getting Anthony Richardson back, the Texans doing what they did, Jacksonville trying to make some moves, and I don't know. I feel like Tennessee would be an interesting fit for him. So
Tennessee, it seems like that's a place. You know what?
Good place to be.
Well, DeAndre Hopkins, I guess, made it a little bit known in the past where he felt, because he loves every quarterback that he's had. But no offense, if he had a Hall of Fame type quarterback, he'd be setting records. But he decided to go to Tennessee in that situation last year. Tennessee's in a rebuilding. They're trying to change their culture offensively, specifically was the reason why they made the hiring that they did and what they're trying to reestablish themselves as, or at least, transform themselves into. Why don't we do another question here, because it's right here on the board. Chief, appreciate you. I've seen talks of Marlowe being a cap casualty. I feel like he'll be a Raven for life. And if asked, would pull a Jimmy Smith and take a team-friendly deal. Now, I think a restructuring is definitely in the balance. I don't think the Ravens like to cut corners with especially how many injuries that happen. Am I wrong with that type of thinking? Are we in agreement that if anything, this year, Marlon, it feels like he's not going anywhere, and it would be a restructuring?
No, his deal. If the Ravens even wanted to get out of his deal, I'm pulling up the actual specifics of it here, but I don't even know if you get out of it next year. I mean, the Ravens, his deal, like with Stanley, you can, if you want like those bigger contracts, you can end up releasing him and saving $15 million if you do it post June 1. For Marlon, I'm looking at his deal. You would end up losing $5 million. His dead cap is $27 million. His actual cap hit is 22. The out in his contract is probably, I mean, you can do it after next year, but I think he honestly might have 2 years. But Marlon's still a good player. I think that the issue is he dealt with the injuries last year, and I think it's interesting because I think his bad moments get amplified, and I don't know what it's because of, but he's someone where with cornerbacks, you don't want your name mentioned, except it's unless obviously interceptions or turnovers, and Marlon's good with the fumbles. But if your name is mentioned a lot and you're getting a lot of tackles, it's probably maybe because guys are catching balls on you and you have to bring down the ball carrier that catches the ball. But Marlon, I still think is a good player. But for me, his out you could technically do it here, but he has a void year at the end of his deal in 2027. He has 22, 25, and 22 are his 3 cap hits. He's still under contract for the next 3 seasons. So if anything, I think you approach him with a restructure, and then if something bad happens, if they want to move on, they can probably do it after next year. But I'm keeping him around this year. I don't think there's any way that he leaves.
I don't think he's going anywhere.
This is
what do you got?
No, it's just an update on actually kind of what Nick is talking about with how just long snappers and stuff operate. So there's an update. Standout James Winchester has not yet officially signed with the Chiefs.
Oh, drama.
Well, but he agreed to terms with the team. He is just on vacation until Thursday and will sign as soon as he gets back.
Well, they can't even sign yet.
I love that.
He can't sign till Wednesday at 4 p.m. anyway.
So that's not news.
I love that the agent put out that he's on vacation, but will sign it as soon as he gets back. I don't think he expected to get the call.
It has happened. Last year, Joe Cardona and I, we were going through free agency together, and he was in Hawaii when he got his deal with the Patriots.
That's awesome.
He said he called me because I was talking with him, and I did like a visit up there before I signed back here, and I was leaving New England, and he called me, and he's like, dude, I called him. I was like, hey, I just want you to know I left New England. Like, I'm going to sign with Baltimore. He's like, yeah, dude, Bill just called me. It's like 6:30 in Hawaii. I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, well, I'm out in Hawaii at this NFLPA thing, and Bill called me to give me my contract.
So out of curiosity, since that's over, did you just leave a bad impression on Bill Belichick?
I never made it to Bill Belichick. I had, by the time I landed in Boston, we had got the deal we wanted from the Ravens. And I had never been in that situation before. So I was like, what do I do? They're like coming to pick me up from the airport to take me to Foxborough. Like, what do I do? And I ended up driving to Foxborough, and then basically my agent told him that I was going to take the deal with the Ravens, and then they put me in a holding cell. Basically, they put me in like a room with no doors and windows. I swear to God, they were super nice and like they were super chill about it. And they all, like Joe Judge and some of the other people, congratulated me on my deal, and they were super stoked for me. But they literally put me in like a glorified coat closet with no windows, and they're like, we'll come get you when we get your flight information. And I'm like calling my wife and texting my agent, like, they put me in this room, like, what the hell do I do? And it was like an hour and a half.
Yeah, until just like lock him in there
until I got
like, actually, we're gonna offer you this, and we're not letting you out until you take it.
Sign it. Yeah, I never got a chance to speak with Coach Belichick. Because I had already,
agreed to the deal.
I wanted to come back here. I didn't want to. It wasn't like I wanted to go.
There were 2 options: sign with the Patriots or go in the room.
I took the room, and luckily they put me on
a
a flight out of Rhode Island and got me back home. So.
But that's the business side of it, right? And it just happens just like that. And for teams that are, I mean, we heard the story with OBJ about if OBJ got back on a plane and the deal was gone. I think with the Ravens and him coming to Baltimore, was that correct, Kevin? Do you remember that? They're saying if OBJ got back on the flight, the deal was done.
Yep.
And so then that, like, there's a lot of tactics that go into trying to get deals done, and you're waiting for situations. Joe, great question though. Can we lock Rocco in the closet? We might at the 6 p.m. hour.
Might have to
when we do the
stay tuned. Speaking of not closets, but wide receivers with Odell. Ian Hartitz, who does a good job with contract stuff and just works and does a great job with NFL content, put out the largest free agent wide receiver contracts for people who signed with a new team from 2016 to 2024. And signing a wide receiver to a big money contract might not be the best move. I'm going to read these out we can react to them. So Christian Kirk, who actually has worked out pretty decently with the Jaguars.
Very good.
That deal got a lot of flack in the first half.
That's the perfect example of signing a player for what you think they're capable of, not what their production says. And I don't know if he goes to Jacksonville at the time, Christian Kirk, if he doesn't get that big of a payday, and they knew he could become something special.
Yeah, so that one worked, but then Kenny Galladay did not work out as well for the Giants.
No, he did
$72 million for Kenny Galladay. Wow. Sammy Watkins signed for $48 million with Kansas City back a couple of years ago. Pierre Garçon signed with the 49ers, $47.5. Allen Robinson to the Rams. That was 45. That didn't work out for them. Tyrell Williams, I think, was injured for his entire Raiders tenure. That was $44 million. Allen Robinson in Chicago, $42 million. That also did not work. 2 Allen Robinsons back to back there.
Wow.
Paul Richardson, former Seahawks wide receiver, signed with Washington for $40 million. Marvin Jones in Detroit signed with $40 million. Robert Woods with the Rams. I think that was okay, but not great.
Robert Woods was okay.
Signed for 39, and now Gabe Davis, Jacksonville, $39 million.
So what we're saying is save that money for a long snapper that you love.
Yeah, please give it to us.
Yeah, I think
Get us to push us to 1% of the salary cap, dude. That's just it.
That's all we ask.
We should all be 1%.
That's all that we're saying here. And for those that are tuning in, we're doing the live stream NFL reaction. We have a few questions here on YouTube. So if you're new to the channel, though, hit that like and subscribe button. And we love to talk about this as we await some more news. Let's start with this one first, just because we know. What about Bowser? Any word as far as, and we kind of touched on it on the hair, really isn't any word, right? Besides
I don't think
ties.
there's ever going to be any word.
He said that he wants to come. He would be very open to coming back. He loves Baltimore, but at his current cap number, I just, 5.5 million. You can save with that. His cap number is right around 6 or 7 million. I think
it's going to be interesting with the edge rushers,
especially because for Baltimore, Ajabo is really talented, but the injuries his first 2 seasons have kind of limited what we've seen of him. Odafe always shown a lot of talent, a lot of flashes, but I think for people, the big conversation now is, are they going to pick up the 5th-year option, which they didn't do with Patrick Queen, and now they're essentially going to lose him there. But I agree, Nick. I think for the Ravens,
that's one of our biggest question marks.
Yeah, bringing back maybe one of Van Noy and Clowney, both maybe, or you go out and sign
another
outside guy,
to that. Or do you try to go for a big time guy if there are any on the market, which I don't know.
Danielle Hunter's there.
Well, you're right, and he's there even more with not going back to Minnesota. That is because of the Jonathan Grenard news that he is going to Minnesota. So it feels like Danielle Hunter will be available, but at what price? And I think that is going to be the question mark. At what price?
Mm-hmm.
And now maybe it would be a different discussion. You just mentioned the wide receiver deals, Kevin. I wonder what the defensive end or pass rusher contracts have looked like, and which have been very successful and which haven't. I think that's always an intriguing one, because obviously if you have a really great pass rusher, you try to keep them, right? And if you let them walk.
Well, and the Ravens have let a couple walk in the past couple of years. Darius Smith, obviously the first time around, and then they let Judon walk a couple of years ago. He signed that deal with the Patriots. So they've let a couple good ones walk, but I think obviously they would have preferred to have them back, but you can't keep everybody. And, we're seeing that every single season, especially with the Ravens. So I feel like, guys are going to leave. It's inevitable, but we're going to see who leaves and who doesn't.
And then that's kind of leads into a different question here as we are talking about this, or just Ravens in general. Out of the top corners, because we just mentioned Marlon Humphrey, where do you guys rank Marlon? If you're to rank Marlon right now in the NFL, and I'm trying to look at there's a lot of talented corners there. I think everyone's looking at last year. I think it's unfair in the sense when you're getting off to an injury to start the season and you got to battle and you're going to miss games and you're not 100%, and then you got to go into the belly of the beast for an NFL season. I still thought he had some very, very solid games.
He still played well. I think he's still, without a doubt, a top 10. I say no question.
You think he's top 10? I think at least if you're to say 15 to 20. I don't think he falls out of the 15-20 range for corners. If you're going to be that generous,
I'd still give him top 10.
Yeah,
I'd give him top 10.
Yeah, I'd say top 10.
I was being generous with it, but I guess that's the point of it. But I'm saying even if he is a top 15, top 20 guy, wouldn't you want a guy like that on your team? Yeah,
He's not. I don't think he's going anywhere.
I don't think so either.
I honestly didn't even put that into consideration.
I don't think the Ravens have put that into consideration.
No,
to be honest.
He's a big part of our defense and a big part of our team, and I don't think we have a lot of other things we got to get worked out.
Yeah.
To build off of last year, and I don't think he's a guy that they're gonna try to replace.
Yeah, and plus,
I agree.
If you move on from a guy like Marlon, you have to replace him. And so you say, you can free up all this money, you can do this, but are you going to get a player in free agency or via trade that is either at least as good as Marlon is or better? That's a risky, right? It's the same thing with Ronnie too, where if you move on from Ronnie, you have to replace him, and there are plenty of talented tackles in this class, and I'm sure that, the Ravens are going to be involved in trying to get one, but you have to be sure, especially with the window the Ravens are in right now, that you can get a talented player that is probably, hopefully, at least as good as Ronnie Stanley, if not better. And again, I think people with the injuries with Ronnie talk about him and say, oh, well, he's all washed up and injured and this, that, and the other. But I think Ronnie's still a pretty solid tackle. But again, if you release Ronnie, you got to replace him with someone.
Right.
We got another move.
What?
We got another move,
What
baby.
do we got, baby?
Dan Quinn bringing in another former face. The Commanders are signing former Cowboys center Tyler Biadasz. How do you say
Biadasz, yeah.
Biadasz, who is one of the top centers in the league.
I loved him coming out of Wisconsin.
Oh my god,
Second best Tyler center, I guess, in the league. Huh?
Yeah.
Oh,
not number one. Not number
Shout
one.
out Linderbaum.
there it is. Shout out Tyler,
my guy.
I still want him to be on.
He's coming on.
That too. I want him to be on, but I also want to just break down how he hauled ass in the playoff.
Oh
game.
yeah.
I just
On
want it
the
to
Lamar
be
touchdown.
Yeah, I want it to be screw it. Tyler Linderbaum highlights, hustle highlights.
Yeah.
My favorite Linderbaum, that Tampa game from last year when he put Devin White on his ass was so good. He was pancaking guys left and right. That was my favorite Linderbaum game.
Yeah, he's a stud.
Nick, do you know what year Tyler Linderbaum was born in?
Let me think about this. He is 20. I'm gonna say the year 2000.
Yeah, he's younger than me.
Yeah.
So after all this shit,
Wow.
I actually counted there 8 Ravens that were born in 2000 or later.
Okay,
The
so
numbers
no,
going up. The
the
numbers
only-
going to go up.
Yeah, the only time you get a lot of shit though, Zach, is because like you'll make comments about
Like
certain shows.
The Office is the best TV show in the world, and that is just asinine.
Oh,
It's
my
a good
God.
TV
The
show.
band- but we got
I'm not
Band of
saying
Brothers
it's
over here.
not.
This is.
I mean, okay, that was
Where's Tyler Linderbaum's? I want his. If Tyler Linderbaum says The Office, we're closing this argument.
It's so dumb as shit. But, hey, Nick, we did talk about last time. You missed some banter we had in the time before. We actually talked about St. Patty's Day. It involved Kevin as well. Kevin and Rocco are going to dress up as leprechauns.
Well, I'm only doing it if Rocco does it. So
it's going to happen here.
Okay.
But okay, do you remember that video, the report in Mobile, Alabama, where they literally did a report out there that there was a mysterious creature in the tree, the leprechaun.
This is
And here's
old-
this
is
amateur
old video.
sketch. Yeah. We brought that back up. It's tremendous stuff. But we got a lot to talk
What a
about.
great holiday too, by the way.
It really
It's
is.
what coming up on Wednesday,
I think it's next Monday.
the 17th.
Soon,
Yeah, for
yeah.
some reason I was thinking it was the 14th. Yeah, next Monday or next Sunday actually. Sunday.
Right, Kevin, like you said, right now on Twitter is the prime where people.
Oh
are
my
just
God! People are just
retweeting.
retweeting. I
The
just
oldest-
see free agent wide receiver Jeremy Maclin expected to sign with the Ravens on a 2-year deal from 2017.
My favorite is I just saw Danny Woodhead is going to
I've
Baltimore.
I've seen Michael Crabtree. Well, actually, a move that happened just now is the Texans are bringing back Lonnie Johnson, the
Oh.
defensive back. It's so first comment, a Texans fan goes on purpose. As we die.
It's like I hate to be this way, but when Brandon Jones was reported that he signed, all the comments are like, "Can you tell us who this is?" And I was like, "He was a good safety in Miami, people."
Yeah.
But if it's not a big name, all the comments underneath are like,
Yeah.
"Never heard of this guy. Are
Bro.
you sure he's in the
Yeah.
NFL?"
You should have seen on Ravens posting me last year when I signed. Literally,
Oh,
there was
I'm gonna try to find
there was
it.
not
Please
one
do.
I'm
comment
gonna try
that's
to find
there
it.
was a couple that were like congrats, but it was like, oh, pay Lamar. Where's Lamar's contract? No one cares about this guy. Let's get Lamar.
That was everybody though. I feel like at the time it was this isn't Lamar. This isn't Lamar.
I mean, it wasn't just me that got that. They did the same thing to Justice Hill, but like my wife was like, "What is going on your post?" Because we were getting all kinds of comments on it, and it was all like, "Pay Lamar." No one cares about this guy. Or somebody was like, "Cool, but where's Lamar?"
All right. So real quick, this
Wait a
was
minute.
from January 25, 2023. This isn't the official post, but this one guy put a thread out on how to fix the Baltimore Ravens. And the last step is re-sign long snapper Nick Moore.
Can we pull that up? Can we get that
I
on the
need
screen?
that.
I see your first alternate tweet from 2022 when you were named as a first alternate for the Pro Bowl. People are everybody just wants Kevin Zeitler
How to
in
fix
the
the
comments here,
Ravens.
which is where's Zeitler?
There it
Where's
is.
Zeitler?
Ravens realist. He understands it. He understands.
This was last year. Sign Lamar Jackson, sign Kenyon Drake,
This is
re-sign Justice Hill,
this is the actual
DeMarcus
post.
Robinson,
Like,
Ben Powers,
Lamar-
re-sign
Looks
Justin
very-
Houston, and re-sign Nick Moore.
I think Nick Moore should have been at the top.
Yeah.
Nick then Lamar, or maybe
Yeah.
Lamar than Nick. That's fine too. But
this was going into 2023.
Yeah, so this was before you signed last year.
yeah.
Shout out to
so
that
here-
guy, dude.
Yeah.
I'll put this in the Discord. I found Nick's actual Twitter re-signing post, and someone said Lamar looks very different here.
There was a lot of Lamar love and hate on my 2 posts from last year.
And rightfully so. Well, no, not rightfully so, because you're a great kid, Nick, and we love having you on here. And actually, when the time comes, as we get prepared for this next season, when we're not on the live stream for the tampering period, we're going to have you break down more of certain things in game action with the NFL. We have so much planned coming up for this year. It's going to be nuts. And we're going to get you more on a regular schedule.
Yes, we are.
Because it's great having you in this. Yeah, you can point to the screen.
We're getting the babysitter situation worked out, so I think it'll be
look at that guy. Look at him.
Stud, dude.
There it is.
Stud.
We have re-signed long snapper Nick Moore to a 2-year deal. Things you love to say.
It probably could have been a couple more exclamation points there. What good form right there.
First, you have got to be kidding me. Is
Dude, there was a ton of slack on that post, like a lot of hate.
And people are like,
not hate, but
it's impressive y'all are still posting, knowing damn well every comment is going to be about Lamar Jackson. He does say, we really don't care. I laughing emoji. Love Nick though.
Yeah, all this.
They all wanted Lamar. I got all the guys that signed before Lamar. We took the heat. Me and Justice and some other guys, and then Lamar got his contract. Now every signing's a good signing. That's what
it really is. It really is.
We're gonna have some.
That's my favorite comment. Oh, so you think this shit a joke?
Hey, what was the? I'm looking at it now, just with our recent comment on X. Can the Ravens do something? Right, that's kind of everything's happened. No, but I laughed. So I think I saw Fields was putting out some tweets, and one of them, if we can find, if you guys, do we have one?
We have a former Maryland player on the move.
Who?
Jaguars are not done. Darnell Savage, safety for the Packers,
like
3-year deal. So Gabe Davis and Darnell.
It's hard.
Oh no, I was calling you out.
Oh,
Yeah, it's really not hard.
I said Gabe twice.
Gabe, right?
Gabe Davis and Darnell Savage. Darnell Savage is such an athletic freak. It's unreal.
Yeah,
Well,
I like.
Well, his
that.
last name is Savage.
Yeah.
Makes a lot of sense.
Well, and do not sleep on Mac Jones traded to Jacksonville. Good.
That's the most slept on news we've had. So we got to give credit to Mac Jones. Roll Tide, baby.
I will say it would be just insane. Obviously, don't want to wish injury on anyone, but like imagine if something happens where Mac Jones has to step in and like suddenly like he puts on and everyone's like, shit, was it New England? Because I've seen I forget what reporter was on ESPN said that they believe if the 49ers would have went through with the original plan for the 49ers was to draft Mac Jones instead of Trey Lance. That's what Shanahan wanted. And there are people inside the league, they love to say that when they talk to like,
what does that even
mean? It talks to like the guy who like checks people in and they're like, people
they got
inside the league.
The security guard.
Yeah. And it said, believe that the 49ers would have multiple Super Bowls with Mac Jones. And I turned off the TV after that was said, actually.
I'm just not sure I'm sold on that. Mac Jones didn't show. I mean, he had that rookie year was pretty decent, I guess. But that's about it.
We have the compensation for Drew Sample, if anybody wants to know that. 3 years, $10.5 million. So solid deal. And then also speaking of nothing, I just want to say this, is the Ravens got a comp pick for Ben Powers leaving. Got a 4th for that. They also were slated to get 2 of them because Josh Oliver also went to Minnesota. Yeah. But since they signed Nelson Aguilar, those canceled out, which I think is I would have taken Aguilar's production.
That's a fair trade. That's a 4th. He's better.
Zach, what do you have?
We got another one.
What do we got?
We got another move. Rams are signing guard Jonah Jackson to a 3-year, $51 million deal, $34 million guaranteed. It's big. Actually, that's a big loss, I would say, to the Lions offensive line.
Yeah.
Jonah Jackson is a very good player.
And on top of that, not that this is a move that has the same magnitude of it, but then Colby Parkinson is signing a 3-year deal being reported to the Rams from the Seahawks, 3 years, $22.5 million. So Higbee got banged up right at the end of the season, correct?
Yeah.
The one game. Yeah. So the Rams now, hey, they made a little bit of run there at the end. I thought that they were,
they definitely turned it on towards the end. Yeah.
They did. I mean, actually,
they had a chance to win in Detroit.
They did.
Yeah,
They certainly
played
did,
really
and
well
they
in
had a
that
chance. They didn't decide to not kick the field goal. The Lions really are a kind. I want to give credit to the Niners, but that questionable second half by Detroit, they're one half away from going to the Super Bowl themselves.
Mm-hmm.
But the Rams, that you thought was going to be a big rebuild, they seem like they're right in the thick of it. Jackson's obviously a big part. And then with how they are running the football combined with Matt Stafford still looking like a stud, really seems like a powerful move for the LA Rams. And again, it's that NFC West is still up behind.
I was going to say it's kind of open, right?
It's still the Niners, but I mean,
but how good are they going to be?
That's the question.
Yeah,
Well, especially, I mean, there's so much rumors about Ayuk and Debo. I feel like one of them is going to be gone next year. Just kind of from what the rumor mill is saying, I feel like both have been. Well, Ayuk immediately after the Super Bowl was him and his family were very vocal on social media about potentially going elsewhere. And then I feel like every offseason we have the same thing where it's like the 49ers want to move on from Debo Samuel and like Debo wants to go play somewhere else where he gets more touches or whatever it may be. I feel like it's going to be 2032 and they're going to be like, the 49ers are still shopping Debo Samuel. If anyone, we're just going to get to the point where every offseason they shop him. And then it gets to the point where Debo was caught on film at the club, and they were holding the bottle service that said, stay with the 49ers. And he was like, doing the nah. Yeah. And then 2 months later, he resigns. I think we're just going to do this stuff all over again.
Yeah, money just talks. Money talks, man. Everyone, if you can be pissed off and then they give you that money, money talks.
Mm-hmm.
If they offered Nick $15 million,
let's be honest. It would take me 15 years to make 15 million, so I'd pretty much jump at it if they gave it to me.
I think everyone would jump at it. Kevin would jump out of that seat. Kevin might be able to jump higher.
I'd wear a leprechaun costume for the rest of my life.
You might. You very well might. And also, hey, I want to shout out Nick. The shoes are looking fresh, by the way. I meant to tell you about that.
I don't have the camera, so I can't see what I look like. I always forget I'm on camera.
Yeah, you're on camera, Nick, because we're trying to work on being on camera.
Yeah,
and if you guys are tuning in here, we're doing a live stream here. This reaction for NFL news, a lot of NFL moves so far. If we want to go through the big ones real quickly, DeAndre Swift and Tony Pollard are going to the Bears and the Titans, respectively. Jonathan Grenard going to the Vikings. What am I missing now? Some other ones. Brandon Jones to the Broncos. Christian Wilkins to the Raiders.
Gabe Davis to the Jags.
Yep. Gabe Davis to the Jags. The Jags then also.
Someone else went to the Jags. Oh, Mac Jones went to the Jags.
Darnell Savage.
Mac Jones.
Judy goes to the Browns. So.
Russell to the Steelers.
And that's just a lot of the way
so many moves.
Hey, while we're waiting for some other moves, Nick, what's your favorite jersey combo?
For the Ravens?
Yeah.
Well, actually, I'm very curious on your opinion.
I mean, if you can't tell, if you've paid attention to me at the show, I love the color black. So
the all black.
The all black is by far my favorite. I would say I'm a sleeper. I love the white jersey with the black pants.
Josh Jacobs.
Josh
Jacobs. What? Josh Jacobs is off the market.
Where'd he go?
Where'd he go?
Hit it. Packers. Go Pack go.
Stop. Heel. Sorry. A lot happening there.
Wow.
Wait. Okay.
Yeah, Josh Jacobs to the Packers.
I'm going to be curious to know what this deal is because I think this sets the market for Barkley and Henry.
Go ahead. Did you guys see? I don't know if we talked about Huff.
Oh no, that's a big one.
Yeah, Bryce Huff. Yeah, Bryce Huff to the Philadelphia Eagles. 3 years, $51.1 million defensive end.
Oh wow,
million.
That's a lot of moolah.
Million.
That's two really big moves in a matter of
seconds.
That's why we're live. That's why we're bringing it down.
Right.
And also in the process, we learned breaking news that Nick's favorite jersey was the all black. So just a ton.
I love the all black combo.
Would you have worn the mustard pants? Would you have been a fan?
Please say no.
Hindsight's 2020. In the moment, I probably would have loved it. And then when I looked at the film, I'm like, oh, these are ugly.
Yeah, they are pretty fugly. But yes, we are. Let's talk about this move for a second with Josh Jacobs to the Packers. Okay, we don't know we are going to figure out here in a second. I'm glad, Chief, you like the mustard pants. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. But Josh Jacobs could be wearing a little bit more green and yellow.
Yeah, a little bit of that yellow mustard.
So, all right. let's look at this now from a perspective. And as soon as you guys get the information on what that deal looks like, just, put your hand up, raise like we're in class here, Kevin. And we'll go from there. But Josh Jacobs is being paired with Aaron Jones, Jordan Love. Do we like this move?
I don't know if Jones stays after this.
No chance.
I think he gets traded or cut after this.
But
it all depends on what the contract is.
Yeah, that we're waiting for that. So we'll have a better idea.
And then what's the deal with AJ Dillon? Is he still under contract with them?
Let's see.
I think
I believe so.
I think he has one more year, if I'm not mistaken. Let me see.
So what is happening with the Green Bay Packers right now? Okay, well, let's look at this in a positive way. Josh Jacobs is a very good player, very good running back. And of the running backs, he has been very productive as far as the amount of touches he's gotten. He's been durable, overall durable. What you got?
Dillon's a free agent.
Okay, so Dillon is a free agent. So in this case, is that going to be the 1-2 punch? Josh Jacobs now, if we're looking at his overall. Sorry, there I was trying to type in. He's 26 years old. You're at that cusp now of maybe before the age of 30. You're going to have 3-4 years that you might be feeling really great. A lot of use, though, for Jacobs out there in Vegas. But is this a move that maybe I'm just more surprised with all this, to be honest?
I like it. I mean, you have Love and Jacobs, and I'll leave Jones out for now, but Watson, Romeo Doubs there as well. I think if they add a receiver or two, or maybe even just one, I mean, I think if you get like a solid, doesn't have to be top of the market guy, but if you get a veteran receiver in there to pair with Christian Watson and Doubs, and I mean, we saw Jaden Reed step up for them. That's a really good offense. We saw Love take leaps and bounds, and not that Jones was bad. I don't think the Packers used him enough. I'm not a huge A.J. Dillon guy, to be honest, but I think that Jones was still good. But Jacobs is one of the better runners in this league, and I think it's really solid for them. We'll see what they do on their offensive line. Obviously, Bakhtiari no longer there, but I like it. I think that we had talked about maybe J.K. as a potential option there. We're going to see what happens, but I give this a solid 7, 8 out of 10 for the Packers.
Yeah, it's just running through my mind. I will say Josh Jacobs was not the one if we were going to talk about the going to Baltimore. I know that people were saying, could that be the fit to come in? I still think Derrick Henry is the name that continues to swirl around Baltimore just because of the rumors that he could have been traded at the deadline, and then that was vetoed, that style, but then Saquon Barkley's still available. Packers, though, that's a team now in the NFC North that people really can't sleep on, especially with the evolution of Jordan Love. The Lions are the team to beat there, but the Lions, despite a great year, they are still a beatable team, and the Packers proved that they could do that.
Yeah, let's see look what they did to the Cowboys there in the playoffs. I think the Pack have a lot to build off of last season towards the end, and adding a versatile player like Josh Jacobs, who still has life in his legs, and I think he's going to be a really talented running back. I think it only makes our offense better, and I think they're going to be able to give Detroit a run for their money.
Yeah, we got a somewhat Ravens rumor here.
Yeah, I saw that.
Both Barry Jackson and Daniel Efusi, who actually Daniel was in Baltimore for a while covering the Ravens. The speculation is growing that Miami could pursue Patrick Queen.
Yeah,
which Anthony Weaver's now their defensive coordinator. It would make sense.
Ooh.
They released Jerome Baker, so there is an opening. It could happen.
I'm trying to think if I like this move or like that potential move.
BQ would love it in Florida.
I think a lot of players would like it down there. I feels like a lot of people like playing for Mike McDaniel too. So if that is an option, but I think the bigger part of it, you're right. Anthony Weaver, it's
a big time fit.
It's the comfortability, the knowing of kind of what's going to be run.
And he could be the anchor. I'm not too familiar with their defense, but I feel like he could be like their kind of the Roquan of Miami.
Yeah, I think Sealer's going to have to step into a bigger role there now that Wilkins is gone. He's been awesome for them. And then,
he has been.
But the issue with them is that all their outside linebackers, their pass rushers. I mean, Jalen Phillips is coming off the Achilles, and Chubb tore his ACL.
He tore it late too. So him and Chubb are both going to be guys that are
mid-season at least probably.
Yeah, because I mean, he didn't tear his Achilles till Black Friday, right?
Yeah, it was that Jets game.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be
That was on the MetLife turf, I think.
Yeah,
if
it
I'm not
was.
mistaken, so-
Yeah, it was. It's gonna be middle of the season, yeah, before he's back to.
And
Maybe they rush it, but same with Chubb. Chubb got hurt against us week 17, right?
Yep.
So that's going to be another game, close to middle of the season.
But
Probably.
they need. I mean, they brought in Justin Houston at the end of last season because they had no
Yeah.
one.
They had
literally no one.
nobody.
They're trying to transform that side of the ball. They felt like they transformed their offense the last couple of years. Now it's going to be that defense. Can they take the next step? So if you guys are just joining us, hit that like and subscribe button. We're doing a special stream for football right now because, as you can see, there's a lot of moves that are going on. At the 6 p.m. hour, we will be back to do the Ryan Ripken Show for essentially a lot of baseball coverage. We cover a lot of things specifically to the Baltimore, Maryland region. But then because of all this, we're covering the NFL because who knows, maybe there will be some Ravens moves. But there is one name that at least was potentially linked to Baltimore. That was Josh Jacobs. If you guys are just tuning in, he just signed with the Green Bay Packers, which
actually a little bit more on that.
Yep.
Ian, let me make sure I have the right person reporting it. Yeah, so Ian Rappaport then put out that Green Bay was working on a new contract with Aaron Jones prior to this, and now they, I guess, potentially pivoted and went for Josh Jacobs. So that will be something to keep an eye on, like we were just talking with Kevin. I think that's now a guy that becomes available.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, then, yeah, and that opens up another
Raven?
market.
Raven?
I would not hate it. I would not
Raven?
hate it.
Oh, do I start that
Wouldn't be a
agenda
bad-
right now?
Wouldn't be a bad move.
Oh, I'm starting that agenda on Twitter.
But Aaron Jones's style of play is again more of the home run, big play threat that he can be. He can catch the ball in the backfield extremely well. But does it still feel like it is then? If Josh Jacobs was kind of that bruiser and possibility, what about again? Is Derrick Henry still he's not a name that's been signed to the Cowboys yet? Saquon Barkley hasn't gone to the Eagles, which again, those are rumors that are being thrown out there, and quite frankly, that's all that they are, just rumors. But what isn't a rumor is Josh Jacobs going to be joining a very young and talented Packers team. I think people also forget how young this group is.
Yeah.
Christian Watson hasn't been healthy for that team offensively as a wide receiver, but he's got some explosive skills. They have two young tight ends, Musgrave and Kraft,
Mhm.
I believe. And then now you're adding Josh Jacobs to a team that seems to be revitalized to end the season. Holy shirts and pants. I didn't really expect that there would, maybe I should have expected there was things happening, but I think we're just waiting for that Ravens news to drop.
I don't think it's going to, I just don't see the Ravens making the move would be a splash today, but I don't think the Ravens just are so good at that bargain shopping and kind of letting that initial wave of, I'm not overpaying, but they don't like getting into bidding wars with people. So I think if they were going to make a move, it would be, I would think, a Derrick Henry or Saquon today, but I don't see them making any other kind of smaller move, at least in the next few days.
And I think, running back now is when we're still waiting on the particulars of the Jacobs deal, but we kind of thought like, oh, those are going to be medium-sized contracts. But then, the market got set a little early with Swift and Pollard getting their 8 million, 8.5. I mean, I think this is probably going to be over 10 at least for Jacobs.
Yeah.
If not, maybe a little more than that. And then you're thinking about, oh, well, a medium-sized move, like we thought it was going to be, all of a sudden becomes a big move with what these guys are going to get paid annually.
Yeah, you know what I wonder now, because when this Josh Jacobs news comes out for Saquon Barkley, because I think that's the big name that if you're looking at a deal, if Jacobs gets whatever we get the numbers on him, what that deal is, I think is going to set the stage for what Saquon Barkley could get. And I think that's going to then narrow it down. I think Derrick Henry is going to be the cheaper of the deals, just given at where he's at in his career. But he's still obviously a guy that he trained just like you, Nick. He's having the off balance training.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just everything that you do. Like, what's it? He carries that like log over his head on one leg and he's getting smacked around. It's what long snappers focus on.
I mean, we're basically the same person, me and Derek. So you come to Baltimore.
You seen those workout videos? You doing the crazy?
I'm doing all that stuff, man.
So, hey, can you talk about this real quickly, Kevin, just so we can keep, or just while we're waiting? I think a big move would eliminate a PQ comp pick. Do you have any context on that?
So it depends, but yes, if Patrick Queen signed for, I'll throw in a 4 for 75. Let's just throw out a random number, and the Ravens get a guy of that similar either yards per carry or average annual value. I think for me, what you're looking at is for Baltimore. There's a lot that you could do, but in terms of the actual comp picks, we know that the Ravens love them, and I don't know if the Ravens are going to go like 4 for 75 on somebody, but if there is a big like unexpected move that they make and there's a big contract, then yeah, all of a sudden you're looking at a potential 3rd round comp pick for PQ or 4th getting canceled out by whatever move they would make.
Well, I guess we're gonna have to figure out what's gonna happen next. Zach, have any thoughts?
I don't know if how the comp pick is going to impact how the Ravens move this offseason solely because of where the window of winning is. Now, if this was in a time where the window was, they have to think about, we want to keep this team going for the next 5+ years, I think it's an option. But if there's a guy that they think can help them go and win a Super Bowl this year, I don't think they're going to stress too much over losing a potential 3rd round pick next year for compensation. Kevin, did something happen?
Yeah, we got the terms on Dorrance Armstrong's deal with Washington, 3 years at a max of $45 million.
Money is talking.
Wow, dude.
So
a lot of millions out there.
And Armstrong's been solid, 8.5 sacks
Yeah.
2 years ago, 7.5 sacks this past season, but 15 average annual value for, I mean, the edge / pass rusher market is going to be deep anyway and going to be rich anyway, but that seems like a little overpay. Although I think my deal that I do not like today is that Colby Parkinson deal just does not do it.
So what we say doesn't move the needle for you, Kevin?
Does not move the needle.
We got some special teams news.
Oh, what do we got?
Uh-oh.
Jaguars back at it again, signing kicker Will Lutz, former Raven. He was
Ravens
here.
legend. And
He was a
of
part of the
course-
goat pen.
Yeah, then of course, right under this one, I get a retweet from 2016 about the Ravens signing Trent Richardson.
Ooh, that was fun.
Oh yeah.
He did he ever suit up?
No,
I
Sure.
don't think so.
Sure. Yeah.
no.
In your mind, it's all visual anyway. If you think it, you believe it, or if you believe it, it's true. I don't know what it is, but what is true right now, as we are aware, a lot of big moves are happening, right? So if you're tuning into this, hit that like and subscribe button. If you're on YouTube, we'd greatly appreciate it. Seems like after that Josh Jacobs news, things are starting to pick up. People are getting excited. People are a little bit worried. Or maybe not worried, but you're thinking, when is that move going to happen to your favorite team? So if you guys are in it, let us know what move you guys would like to see that hasn't happened today, or what you think is your least favorite move so far in Baltimore, as we're covering it in Baltimore. Ravens, no big moves. The only move that has been official is that Madubuike re-signed his extension with the Baltimore Ravens, which turned out to be a steal because then Christian Wilkins signed his massive deal with the Vegas Raiders, which even reset the market all over again. Ooh, and then Josh Jacobs is going to the Packers, and we don't have any update on that contract.
No, and I am just vigorously refreshing, trying to get the figures on this, because this is going to be something that not resets, but it does set the kind of the tone for what these next level guys are going to get. Because we talked about with DeAndre Swift and Tony Pollard, they're like that second tier. They both got $8 million. So now, does Josh Jacobs, if he only gets what would be crazy, if he's around 8 million, then that throws everything off. But if he's around that 10 to 12, I think that prices out the Ravens from a Saquon or Derrick Henry.
And right now, just to give the context of it, last year, Josh Jacobs in his age 25 season, he had 233 carries in 13 games, 805 rushing yards. He also then had 37 catches for 296 receiving yards. Having said that, though, the 13 games, he did miss games down the stretch. So especially if you were in fantasy, that could have hurt you. But was it Zadir White that was the backup running back? Mm-hmm. I believe.
Zamir White, yeah.
Hey, Brad, is that you? He's turning in. I see Brad.
See the leg back there.
Yeah, well, Brad is going to be. Brad's gearing up as we've been going around for getting ready for both streams today. By the way, so we have our baseball stream coming up at 6 p.m. tonight. There just wasn't enough.
Just not gonna say anything about too much about baseball, but Jackson Holiday 2 for 2 today, and Mike Bauman is now officially has retired all 13 batters he's faced in spring training. That was just tweeted out.
Am I just gonna have to do a big Mike breakdown thing?
Might have to. Might have to get one going.
And maybe we'll have to break down Tyler Wells, also a friend of ours, Nick.
Great player. Side note on your on you we were just talking about Will Lutz.
Yeah.
Slightly premature from what I've been told.
Oh,
slightly not accurate Accurate information.
Oh, this is why we have the long snapper in
It's not
studio.
100% accurate. Let's just put it that way.
So don't you love when sources say that they have sources that the steal is done?
Yeah.
Isn't that what it's always about?
I saw let me pull it back up. I just deleted it. I think it was Schefter. No, maybe it was Rappaport. Yeah, Ian Rappaport. No, wait. Oh, damn it.
It was Ian Rappaport that put it out.
Yeah, I spoke to somebody whose name starts with a W and ends with an ill.
I was gonna say, did you did you congratulate him?
Will's one of my boys.
Yeah,
he
Georgia Penn.
Hey, Will, congrats on the fake.
Well,
deal.
I didn't know him in Baltimore. Well, I knew him, but I wasn't here in Baltimore with him. But he went to Georgia State, was roommates with my high school quarterback. And I've known Will since 2012, and I was with him briefly with the Saints. So of course I texted him to say congrats on a 3-year deal with the Jags. I'm jealous. Go to Florida, but no, he's like don't believe everything you hear.
So do we? So it's debunked here so far, and it could very well happen. Could very well happen.
He just said premature.
What a way to make your debut on Twitter. Make an account right now.
Put out.
I heard. Tweet at Ian Rappaport. I heard this is fake news.
Yeah,
fake news.
I was just about actually.
This is awesome. We just broke that something was fake on the show.
Well, fake news,
and it may or may well not be.
If he signs somewhere else, that clip will be incredible.
Fake news.
Yeah.
Fake news.
You know what I was thinking about? All you have to do is quote tweet Ian Rappaport right now and just saying, I am hearing something different, Ian. And I was thinking about doing it myself. But you know what? It could be true. It could happen.
Well, you got to put it on the end from a source that starts with W and
well,
ends with L.
Yeah.
Can you guys find the tweet? Because I can't find the tweet anymore.
I got it right.
He might have deleted it.
No, it's still on.
It's
there.
up.
Oh, you got it. Oh, wait, yeah. No, this guy's Brian Barb Layton. Oh, no,
Yeah, here 5 minutes ago, Rappaport still has it up.
No.
Well, I guess we're gonna have to figure out if that is completely true or not. But if you,
this guy tweeted last year the Broncos let Brandon McManus sign with the Jaguars. This year, Will Lutz left the Broncos to sign with the Jaguars.
Wait, what? So what happened? With
so
McManus?
many people are tweeting this, bro.
A lot of people. I better.
So does it mean?
Well, what's congratulations right now?
Yeah. I don't think a lot of people are congratulating Will Lutz personally.
Kicker update: the Jaguars signed kicker Will Lutz to a 3-year deal.
Yeah, everybody's on it.
Yeah. Wait. So this is so because I just looked it up.
Kicker news:
Brandon McManus is still on the roster.
It was a 1-year deal.
Am I looking this up? Yeah, no, you are. Wikipedia needs updated.
Yeah, you guys are good kids.
We all know Wikipedia is fake news.
Well, usually for like NFL players, it'll be like a player will get traded, and like before you even see, like you go on Wikipedia and it's been like it'll change to the new team, but it still says Jaguars. I guess people don't update the kickers Wikipedia.
They got to be better with the treat us with some respect. Okay,
special teamers deserve respect in the contract talk.
They really do. That should be the first deal done before any other one. And also, speaking of Wikipedia, can't you change? People would change like the father of somebody that owns the team.
They did that with Justin Tucker to Detroit.
Yeah,
they said that he's the owner of the Lions.
Because
he is
real estate mogul. He owns half of Detroit.
Whoa.
Oh, what do we got?
I didn't mean to do that.
Oh, I thought we had breaking news.
So did I. I was like,
I was excited.
Is that a good sound we should go with then?
I mean,
it's okay. It's okay.
I like
it's
the first
funny.
one better.
I mean, the big one is when.
Oh, we got major moves potentially. Yep, here we go. Kirk Cousins is off the board.
Whoa!
Atlanta Falcons.
No, Kirk Chains to the Falcons, dude.
That's fucking electric.
Okay, time out. Is it just per source or has someone got it?
His agent.
Okay, that's a pretty good source.
That's a pretty reliable source.
Oh,
yep.
Okay, so Kirk Cousins is going to Atlanta.
Oh,
wow.
My God.
Holy shirts and pants. That's kind of
Kirk Chains, dude. What a guy. The Falcons just got a lot better. They may not win in the playoffs,
I love that.
but they got a lot better.
No, they are. Are the Falcons not the favorite now to win that division?
Oh, they have to.
They have to.
They already should have been with those weapons. With this, it's now even.
What, Brad gonna get in on this?
Yeah. What? Oh my god.
Uh-oh, what happened?
The Bucks are still going to win the division. period.
There he is.
Oh, he's coming in hot.
He's coming in hot right now.
hot.
God, that's right. They did get Baker back. Oh, that division's suddenly like excited.
Yeah.
Are you
is.
now drafting all Falcons on your fantasy team?
Oh my god, I'm gonna do it again.
I think every skill player on the Falcons got 10 times better.
Okay, so we need to upgrade this. So Kirk Cousins is going to the Atlanta Falcons, which then he will be paired up with Bijan Robinson,
Drake
Kyle
London,
Pitts,
yep.
Drake
London,
Drake London. I was thinking of Drake May for a second.
or just Drake.
Drake London or just Drake.
Mhm.
Kyle Pitts, which we just said. So this offense now is exciting, which also means the Vikings might be very, very in on a quarterback. In this
I
draft.
could see them moving.
Yeah,
up.
they
And-
got to,
and options that we talked about, Michael Penix, would they move up for Jaden Daniels? There's going to be a lot of options, but Kirk Cousins, though, how about that? Okay, so I'm going to try to. Can you guys have any other thoughts, concerns on this information at the moment?
That's just crazy.
I like that.
I
Yeah,
love that.
I like that.
Dirty
move.
That was so. Well, now Penix to the Vikings.
Yeah, something.
Purple and gold, the purple
we
and
need-
yellow.
Oh wait, it's a 4-year deal.
Yep. No, I don't think
Kirk
the-
Cousins
the
is
term-
4-year
the-
deal?
Yeah, the terms haven't been released yet, but it's a 4-year
Wow.
deal.
Well, you know what? You might as well add that to the thumbnail now, Zach.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we were just we actually just had Josh Jacobs on the thumbnail. Now we're gonna have to get Kirko chains.
And we still don't even know the specifics of
Fifth-
Jacobs deal.
Yeah.
I don't even know.
Kirk Cousins to the Falcons. That's crazy.
So I think that Kirk Cousins deserves a ton of love, by the way. I don't think he gets enough love for what he's been able to accomplish. He's a very solid quarterback. Felt like Atlanta, and wasn't it Raheem Morrison, or not his presser, but after that he said if they had better quarterback play last season, he probably isn't there as the head coach.
No,
of the
he
Atlanta
did
Falcons.
verbatim, which is kind of crazy to say
But-
while
but-
that quarterback's on the roster.
Yeah, but it's true. Like as
Yeah.
far as the truth sometimes hurts.
Desmond Ridder was never going to be the answer.
No.
Yeah, no, I agree, but that was just kind of wild. Like, Desmond Ridder at least do the PR stuff where it's like, we're going to evaluate all our options. We're going to see what we have. He just was straight up like,
sometimes
if we-
scorched earth is the best policy.
So
like
what-
letting it be known.
Yeah, I mean, Sean Payton made it very clear that he just didn't want Russell Wilson during the season.
Yeah.
That was very adamant. And then they kept going out there and winning games. And then, Russell's gone. That was quick. So you can see when a team needs to make a move. And Morris, I think we understood this. Arthur Smith probably is still the head coach. I mean, that's the reality. And you are linked to the quarterback that you have. And Arthur Smith did a great job of defending, I thought, Ridder overall. And now all of a sudden, he's out of a job. Well, he's out of being the head coach. Now he's an offensive coordinator now for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And now the Atlanta Falcons are having a very, very different look of an offense with a guy that is more of a prolific passer. His teammates tend to love him. And this is a very young nucleus that they have on offense. And maybe somebody unlocks Kyle Pitts. I think maybe someone fully unlocks Kyle Pitts. I think Kirk
A
Cousins
lot of potential
could be
there.
that.
Yeah, a lot of potential with Kyle Pitts.
oh, God, I'm so going to draft Kyle Pitts way too early in fantasy again. This happens
He's
every
just such
year.
a talented player, dude.
He and Bijan
like,
just ruined my fantasy.
How
team.
is he not doing better?
That's what I'm saying.
Well, when you got
He's so-
Desmond Ridder, and Taylor Heineke, there's only so much you
When
can
they
do.
were they went through that weird phase where even though they had Kyle Pitts, whenever they got down to the 2-3 yard line, they were like, let's give it to Cordero Patterson.
Yeah.
It's like,
Well,
what?
Yeah.
Cordero's still one of the best.
Well, just
athletes I've
gadget
ever
players
seen.
is one of the great. I'm telling you, just based off of history, Cordero Patterson's going to be a Raven at one point. We've complete all the greatest returners of all time have had a cup of coffee with the Ravens. Dion, Devin Hester, Deshaun Jackson.
Come on, we're the best at getting running backs like on their way out.
That
They're
is
like
also-
they're
that's
like in
also very
hospice
true.
and they're on their way out of the NFL, and then boom.
The Baltimore Ravens. The Baltimore Ravens practice squad is always reserved for one running back, like 33 years old, that they're
Yeah.
like, he might.
Hey,
Yeah.
Jacoby Jones was another one. Jacoby Jones
was awesome.
Yeah,
though.
Jacoby was a stud,
awesome.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
Jacoby had some of the biggest plays in Ravens
I was
history.
going to say, didn't he run the kickoff back
Yeah.
in the Super Bowl?
Well, he was cut from Houston because he had fumbling issues on returns, and I think one of them
In
actually he was
Baltimore.
getting like death threats from Houston fans with all his fumbling issues that were going on. And
Well,
then
it's funny,
he
he,
comes to Baltimore, and I think actually sunned Houston in a Ravens
Yeah.
uniform, and then went on to if we're talking Super Bowl MVP, not named Joe Flacco, I think Jacoby Jones would probably be it.
Yeah.
Yep. No. Okay. Well,
Oh, I was gonna say the big reason he was cut was actually ironically because he fumbled in the playoff game against the Ravens the year before in the divisional round, and that was like kind of the last straw. They were like, "Well, this guy's got nothing. Like he's just a fumbling problem." So they got rid of him, and the Ravens were like, we'll take the chance on him. And then he was seen trotting to the end zone in the next year's Super Bowl.
And then the rest is history there. Well, hey, if you're tuning in with us right now, live stream covering the NFL action, we have the Ryan Ripken Show special stream. We're doing our regularly scheduled show at 6 p.m. We're going to focus more on baseball then. This is all football because there's so many moves. We thought it was going to end up finishing up here maybe sooner than I thought, and it might have to keep going by the time
they
that
keep on. These moves keep coming.
Yeah. Nick's got to get to a dentist appointment in a little bit too, and all these moves just keep happening.
I know.
What the hell are you going to happen here?
4 p.m. Got to get my Invisalign put on.
You know what? I think I have to. I had someone actually call me out. I did a video, and someone said, "Hey, Ripken, you should work on with that money getting Invisalign, brother." First off, I don't know what money specifically he's referring to, and secondly, yeah, I have a little bit of an overbite, and you know what? I think that makes me. But Invisalign does sound nice, Nick. So I will ask you about your experience coming.
Shout out to Invisalign because that's a paid sponsorship right there.
Yeah,
Nick
seriously.
Moore and Invisalign. I can't afford the Invisalign. So.
Yeah, I think it's all good. But yeah, if you're new to the channel, hit that like and subscribe button. So many moves are going on, so much room for activities today, and there's been a lot of activities at the moment here. We're live on X and YouTube, 6 p.m. Again, we're going to do another stream. We're going to probably run here for a little bit longer, see what's going on, just because it felt like when things were getting calm, cool, and collected, then Josh Jacobs signs, and then Kirk Cousins now is signing.
Is it crazy to say that Kirk Cousins signing is the biggest one of the day? Because I think
that's the biggest one of the day.
Yeah, I think that changes. It changes the team the biggest of any signing yet.
Well, that's the quarterback. The impact that they have on the team is the greatest. So it would make sense because that's a team that has struggled mightily since Matt Ryan left at quarterback, and to get Kirk Cousins.
It's fake.
What's fake?
Nothing. I got God.
Tom Brady to the Ravens.
No. Well, it made sense. It said Patrick Queen to the Seahawks. I was like, and then I clicked on it, and it took me to like one of those weird accounts, and I was like, okay.
Well, this is based off of zero actual intel. Someone said so, but it's a conversation starter as we wait. It was Brad Spielberger who said that does Justin Fields to Seattle make sense?
It doesn't not make sense, but I mean that means when you're moving on from Geno, which they do really like Geno Smith, but eventually they're going to have to be in the market for a quarterback.
He's not a long-term option, I guess. So.
Yeah. So, and actually, Johnny, we just talked about it. Cousins to Atlanta, hot Atlanta. Nuts, bananas.
Yeah, big move.
Big moves. What was the Hollerback song? This shit is bananas. BANANAS.
It really
was. It really is.
Yeah. Zach, that was a good take. It's definitely biggest move of the day so far.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And I'm now seeing that the Packers might have reworked Aaron Jones' deal to stay.
So you want to take off your tweet now of the agenda of Aaron Jones to Baltimore?
Well, now we'll just get what's his name? AJ Dillon.
Okay. Well, on that note here, I've seen a few comments about we want Henry, right? Let's go Henry. Or let's get Henry. Well, I think that name is still on the board. And then the connections that we're hearing, is it going to be Baltimore? Could it be Dallas, right? Dallas would be interesting to see what happens. Yeah, I think I actually really like Derrick Henry. I know a lot of people in Baltimore with the Titans the rivalry with the Titans has definitely been rekindled, to say the least.
Yep.
But I think Derrick Henry would really fit that style as far as how hard he runs. Take out the concepts of the run designs and whatever. Just his ability is very interesting.
Speaking of, Taylor Lewan said that he is patiently waiting Derrick Henry's next team so he can become a fan of that team. So maybe future Ravens fan Taylor Lewan is what we're going to be talking about soon.
So what?
There's always a chance.
Well, you're telling me there's a chance. Is there any other move that is out there that we're seeing? Is there any about with who could be
nothing with?
It feels like a veteran quarterback is going to have to go to Minnesota as like maybe compete with the
Insurance,
rookie.
yeah.
Because if this is happening,
Tyler Huntley, maybe.
Yeah, they could. I could see that.
Hmm.
What do they do with Josh Dobbs? Get rid of him?
Well,
Yeah, I think he kind of his welcome was really fun, and then it kind of wore
Yeah.
out pretty quickly.
you know what I loved is you could put the Creed music to everything, and it worked last year. You could be people put the higher Creed song to Josh Dobbs scrambling for a touchdown as the Vikings. Oh, let's go
Speaking of
there.
the Falcons, that camera angle they had, the like Bijan touchdown camera angle, like the overhead. Did you see that? You didn't. It's like they did it with Calais on his record-breaking sack. I'll try to pull it up, but Kirk throws with that camera angle. I'm gonna find the angle. It's gonna be sick.
You know,
over
yeah, I know exactly.
you know what I'm
what
talking about? Yeah.
Yeah, they just have it on Bijan 90% of the time. And it's just magic in the making.
Yeah. Yeah, some good kids.
Ooh,
What?
you know what? I'm just saying what Joe put with Joe Flacco to Minnesota. That would be interesting seeing Joe Flacco throw to Justin Jefferson. That would be.
I mean, guys, a quarterback's gonna want to go there, right?
It has to.
I mean, Justin Jefferson's got to be one of the most prolific players in the league as far as the wide receiver goes.
Oh,
And then
yeah.
you also have Jordan Addison. You have TJ
Yeah.
Hawkinson.
It's a good spot to go, and they're probably
good
unless
spot.
they
KJ Osborne's still there.
yes. But what was the player behind? And I'm blanking on. It was Chandler. Tyson. It was Tyson Chandler. Tyler Chandler. Tyson Chandler.
The running back.
Yes.
Ty Chandler. Yeah.
Ty Chandler. Sorry. So Ty Chandler, because Madison is now gone. They could go out and get a running back as far as in the draft. But if not, he proved that he could handle situations and in a more featured role. Like, that's an exciting offense. Hawkinson's going to miss. He possibly is going to be ready for the start of the season. That was a late injury,
Yeah, it
so
was
maybe
late.
not. But if you're a quarterback going into and the system in place, you can have success there in Minnesota. No
Yeah.
doubt about it.
I mean, with Justin Jefferson, anybody could
Yeah. Seriously.
have success with that guy. mean,
I
he's just
say it.
such
I say it a
stud.
lot here. And for those of you listening on audio form on podcasts, you can listen on YouTube, Spotify. We're doing this live on audios on Spotify, Apple. If you're listening to us live, it's on YouTube or X or whatever it is. But I like to say it because from Kicking and Screaming, childhood movie of mine, the philosophy, Zach, you know what I'm about to say.
Yeah, get the balls to the Italian.
Get the ball to the Italians. And in this case, the Italians or the Italian is Justin Jefferson. Just get him the ball and watch him work his magic. He is truly one of the best players. And
So, fun fact, real quick about Kirk Cousins. With this new contract, Kirk Cousins will officially pass $300 million in career earnings.
Do we know the terms? Did you?
No, but I've just seen people putting, because he was close to it, so he needed one more contract to get over that hump.
Yeah.
so it's true. We're going to find out more about the Kirk Cousins deal. And Z Drive, I appreciate the engagement. The one thing is J.K. Dobbins, it doesn't look like he's going to be coming back to Baltimore. We'll have to see what happens there. But feel like Henry is a upgrade of a Gus style. They are similar styles. Obviously, Gus is a little bit younger than Henry, but Henry is, when you're at the goal line, you're a monster of an individual. You're going to go down as one of the best running backs that the NFL has seen, especially how he plays. There's a lot of excitement behind it. But as far as Keaton Mitchell, it's not going to be ready for the start of the season. Justice Hill is kind of that do-it-all back. So we will wait to see. And as we figure out more information, and if you're new to the pod, by the way, hit that like and subscribe button. We're going live again doing our baseball stream later on today. But Nick, I think this actually be a fun topic. And Joe, we appreciate you. Best football movie of all time?
I mean,
We Are Marshall.
That's a good one, Kevin. I'm cool with
Thank
that.
you.
there's only, I mean,
How did he say that? Not me. That's where I went.
I was waiting for the backlash.
there's only one.
Okay.
We are.
Marshall.
Yeah, there we go.
No, it's got to be Remember the Titans. Come
Yeah,
on.
that's a classic.
Remember
I
the
mean,
Titans.
It's a
Denzel.
classic.
I mean, come on, dude. Gary, Julius.
Can't go wrong with McConaughey though.
Strong side.
McConaughey was good.
Strong side. Yeah.
Left side. I mean, dude, that movie had some of the. I mean, Ryan Gosling was in that movie. Let's not forget, okay, couldn't catch a pass, but he's great as Ken. All right,
Yeah, he was
it was a
Couldn't catch a was a liability out there.
total dude. He couldn't have been more of a
I
liability.
love those. I love those tweets where it's like, can we just all talk about for a second how he was an absolute liability out there? Great
Terrible
movie,
defensive back.
absolute liability.
I will say also the water bug got brought up. Captain Insano shows no mercy. What do we got?
Saquon Barkley to the Eagles.
Oh, snap.
3 years, 37.75 million. Contract could be worth up to 46.75 with incentives. 26 million fully guaranteed.
All right, so that's a little bit out of the
Yeah, I
the
think
budget
that
for the
almost
Ravens.
takes the Ravens out of Henry, honestly.
Yeah,
that's
that takes
13. That's almost 13 million, 12 and 12 what? 12,
Holy
12,
shirts and
Yeah,
pants.
it's
Can we
up
get
to
let's get some-
almost
potentially-
13, almost 13. So it's 13 million base with
Yeah.
the ability to get it up to right around 16 per year.
Goodness gracious.
That's a
Oh.
huge contract.
All right, add it to the
Oh
thumbnail.
my God.
Zach.
I know.
Can't add it quick enough.
I know, guy. Actually, I already had Saquon cut out, so we're,
thank
we're
goodness.
so back.
Prepared.
So back.
Well, and maybe JK isn't leaving after this point. Maybe Ravens keeping JK the way this market is going. Who the hell knows? I still think right here, you're hearing it. Blake Corum is going to be a Raven or a Charger. We're sticking with that mantra. He's not leaving one of the Harbaughs.
Did you just go to Eagles?
Yeah.
He did just go to the Eagles.
Man, Giants fans must be sick right now.
Oh,
I
I
mean-
mean, interdivision.
Yeah.
That is disgusting.
Well, that's terrifying. Now, losing Jason Kelsey up front, though, that is a huge loss.
Yeah.
What do you got?
Saquon just tweeted 2 Eagles emojis. Giants fans are just in shambles right now.
Dude, and he's gonna run all over you the entire
Yeah,
year.
you know they're going to give him 25 touches in that first game.
Yeah.
They're just going to hand him the ball until they can figure out how to stop.
I
him.
think he's gonna make it. I know he loved his time with the Giants, but you know he's gonna make it personal and try to have 8 touchdowns in both games.
You know who the top 2 remaining running backs are? It's Derrick Henry and Zach's favorite, who
It's Austin Eckler.
Mr. Austin Eckler.
I just can't get over that one video
You
of
don't
him
like
breaking.
Austin Eckler, bro?
I used to think he is just past his prime. I think unfortunately injuries have caught up to him and he just can't move the way he was. Obviously battled injuries last year, but I can't get that one video out of my head. I'm sure Kevin knows what I'm talking about, where it's him going down the sideline and it literally is like you're screaming at the television like run. Like he was just moving in slow motion and like a linebacker from 10 yards behind just runs up and grabs him. And it's
I
like,
just really hate Saquon or Austin Eckler. He's
I think-
hitting the mic.
and what's crazy, I will say, I think it was because he didn't perform on fantasy this year. Just go put it out.
but you know what?
That'll make you go sour on any
yeah,
player.
but he actually cares about your fantasy teams, unlike other people.
No, he does.
And also, when you hurt your ankle that early in the season, it's really, really challenging to try, especially if you're running back, to be like,
Yeah.
hey, you're healthy. No, you're not. Bullshit. That
Yeah.
shit's gonna hurt the entire season. And it has. Bringing up a point, this isn't the first time the Eagles have taken a rival running back.
Yeah,
DeMarco Murray.
That
Yeah.
was awful for them at the end of the day.
Well, and you're right. These big deals might not be the best thing, but I think what we're talking about Saquon Barkley, he doesn't have as much tread on the tires dealing with the injuries that he's had. He's had to miss time. Now you can look at that as one way or the other. But if Saquon Barkley was how he was last season, I think the Eagles are going to be extremely happy. But let's look at this from this context for a second here. Jason Kelsey's gone. I think that's a huge part, not to have as who's going to be your center moving forward. But as far as their running game's concerned, if they can fix whatever happened to them down the stretch, the combination of Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley, that has to be the best duo of dual threat that you can have with a quarterback and running back. Am I far-fetched in saying that?
I mean, they're for sure the best running combo. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they're probably combined strength could pick up a freaking skyscraper. Those guys are so freaking tall or so freaking strong. But I definitely think running wise, they're the best combo right now.
Yeah.
Just
So
because they're both so good.
they are. Well,
And they're very similar.
I mean,
other
that
than-
offense we're talking, I mean, it's crazy, right? It's Hurts, it's Brown, it's Smith, it's
Yeah.
Barkley. I mean, the offensive line they just got Dickerson back and
So
they
they're-
have guys there.
there's zero. I know losing Kelsey's big for leadership and all.
Yeah.
And again, like that is something that
It
has
is
to be
big,
addressed.
yeah.
But there's zero reason for this offense not to
Not to be
go,
good.
not to go just
dominate.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
there's no
Yeah,
reason.
they got Goddard in there too. So
Marlon Humphrey just tweeted out, dang, was hoping he was coming to the other birds.
the Cardinals.
Yeah. And I mean, leadership does matter here. We're talking
Yes.
about, and I just want to bring that back up, 2 massive locker room leaders gone from Philly with what's going on with Fletcher Cox. But you can't buy that, Nick. You can talk about that in the locker room. Those impacts of players does make the world a difference,
Yeah,
especially a guy like Jason Kelsey on the offensive line.
Yeah, having a guy like that, like I play with Calais Campbell, it gives you a weird sense of comfort and security that this guy's been around. He knows it. When they say stuff in big moments, like it just makes you believe it. And I played with, in my position, I played with Sam Cooke and Justin Tucker. Those two guys combined at the time had nearly 30 years between the two of them. It just makes you feel comfortable and confident and that you're going to be able to accomplish just about anything. So losing leaders like Jason Kelsey, guy who's got 13 years in the league, been around, won a Super Bowl, played in several, that's hard to replace, but I mean, somebody's going to have to step into that role. So
yeah,
they'll find a way to make it work, and other guys will step up and they'll assume that leadership role. And that's the nature of the league, but it is a tough thing to lose.
Yeah.
And,
I think we know the talent's there with Carter and Jordan Davis, but again, who's going to be the leader? That's because it comes naturally to others. Sometimes it takes some time for the guys to lean.
Yeah,
into
leadership's
that role,
it's something that you can learn how to do, but the best ones in my experience are guys that were basically born to be like that. And some guys don't like that, like being in that light, but when you get a guy like Roquan who loves it and thrives on it and does well, I think it's a huge addition, and it just makes everybody better.
It's a gravitating feeling. Like you can just sense the shift when you have those people around you, and that makes all the difference. You can talk to every team, and even on a different note, just being down at Orioles spring training, last year, and I've told the other guys this too, Nick, and you've obviously been around it and explaining it. There's metrics that people can't quantify with data. They have that that can really make everything go together. So for the Orioles, their other catcher, James McCann, Kyle Gibson pitching last year. They might not be these guys that are the superstars of the team, but everyone, if you go in that locker room, says we don't have the success in Baltimore without those types of players. Like that type of stuff matters. It matters on every single team. Now, we can't crown that the Eagles are going to be the best team, but on paper, Jalen Hurts has great leadership qualities, but whoever it's going to be, there's zero excuse for them not. And it's going to be their division probably to stay on top of. Dallas will kind of be probably right there with them, but the Eagles are still, to me, especially with this move, that is the best offense.
Are you talking about Kirk Cousins numbers?
Oh no, you can.
No,
I have two smaller moves. You can take the Kirk one.
Oh yeah, Kirk. Official numbers, it looks like, is 4 years, $180 million contract that includes a $50 million signing bonus. So he'll actually he goes over $400 million.
Coming off an Achilles, good for him.
He'll actually, with that, with $180 million, he's going to eclipse $400 million in total earnings in his career.
That's a mega.
Not bad for a guy that was drafted the same year as RG3 on the same team, 4th round pick, I believe, and then turned his career into all the money that he's made. And he's a really damn good quarterback. Like he truly is.
I think Kirk Cousins likes that. You know what I'm saying?
Can you say it a little bit louder?
You like that? He likes
that. That's
and one more time, Kevin.
You like that?
You can be louder than that. That was kind of.
You like that?
Say it with your chest.
This
bro.
mic is not very.
You like that?
We don't have to grip the mic like you just did either, Kevin. No, that's not a good look for you.
Okay. I got two smaller moves though. Sean Murphy-Bunting, Tennessee corner, goes to Arizona, former 2nd round pick of the Buccaneers, and then John Runyon, Packers guard, $30 million deal, 3 years with the Giants.
Ooh. We also just had a Patriots signing Antonio Gibson. Wait.
Fantasy fall off.
Yep, there we go. All of a sudden I had to click it. I was like, please be an actual source. Like, please. I saw Ian Rappaport's face. I had to click real fast to be like, okay,
I did that. I will admit, I saw the agent tweet the Cousins thing, but I didn't know who he was. So I just said Kirk to Atlanta, and then we all went crazy. And then I said, okay, it's his agent. We're in the clear.
Well, and then we're still trying to figure out if the deal's premature with Will Lutz now, the kicker going to Jags.
Yeah, I'm still waiting on response. I haven't got it yet.
Yeah, sources. Our sources being in this case. But one thing, this was what the Vikings released about Kirk Cousins on their Instagram page. This is a statement from the Vikings GM. After significant and positive dialogue with Kirk and his representatives, we were unable to reach an agreement on a contract that fits the short and long-term visions for both Kirk and the Minnesota Vikings. Kirk holds a special place in Vikings history, and we appreciate his leadership and contributions to the team and the Minneapolis-St. Paul community over the past 6 seasons. We wish his wife, Julie, and their children all the best. Our approach heading into free agency always included layers of contingencies regarding the quarterback position. We are moving forward with plans that allow us to continue building a roster that can compete for a championship. So very classy move that they respect and they love what Kirk Cousins has done, but it also is proving to the point that they had a feeling that this was a chance that Kirk was not going to be back. And it looks like if they do go into free agency and they get it'd be like a stopgap quarterback, because it really just feels like now the Vikings are going to be aggressive when it comes to drafting a quarterback in this year's draft. And if you're just tuning in right now, hit that like and subscribe button. We're the Ryan Ripken Show. We do this on YouTube and X live every Monday and Thursdays. We're doing 2 streams today, 1 football, 1 NFL, just because of how the day is going. We have Ravens long snapper Nick Moore in here rocking the fresh kicks as well. Kevin Oyster Striker of Locked On Ravens. Zach Bollinger of just
Twitter.
Just Twitter.
It's just Zach B.
Yeah.
Yep. And actually,
talking to a mic.
We have, hey, Don, we have been live for 2 hours and we're going to be nuts. We're going live again at 6 p.m. We'll probably wrap up here soon in the next few minutes just because of so much action. But because of the day and the special show, we wanted to make sure we got the NFL news in. And then we're going to get into the baseball news because there is a lot of baseball news, specifically with the Baltimore Orioles. So if you guys are new to the channel, hit that like and subscribe button. And yeah, Johnny, just like that. And then there was only Derrick Henry kind of at the running back position.
Yeah.
Henry, Austin Eckler, Zach Moss, or maybe you could bring back Gus Edwards or J.K. Dobbins. We also, speaking of the Dolphins, we talked about it earlier with their pass rushers. Andrew Van Ginkel goes to Minnesota. So John Grenard and Andrew Van Ginkel in Minnesota now. I believe I lost the tweet. I think it was 2 years, $20 million for Andrew Van Ginkel, who was also, he was beat up a little bit last year in terms of injuries, but Dolphins are going to have to get a lot of guys in there before Chubb and Jalen Phillips come back.
Because they're not going to be back. Van Ginkel's a pretty solid player.
Yeah,
I think he's a really good player.
Oh gosh, holy shirts and pants! It is. I don't even know what to say at this point.
There's a lot of news. I mean, we're only 3 hours in to
slow 30 minutes.
Agency. Not even 3 hours in.
But then it really felt like in the last hour.
Yeah.
Just Jacobs.
3 mega deals, yeah.
Josh Jacobs to the Packers, Kirk Cousins to the Falcons, Saquon Barkley to the Eagles, Tony Pollard to the Titans, DeAndre Swift to the Bears. What do you
we have Diana Rossini with a cryptic tweet saying the Eagles aren't done, ... So I don't know what that means, except the Eagles aren't done. And she also says that with Kirk Cousins going to Atlanta, Sam Darnold might be an option for Minnesota.
Yeah, I did see a tweet that said that too.
Yeah.
Said, come on, Minnesota, say it. You want Sam Darnold.
Sauce Gardner just tweeted out like 30 minutes ago. My timeline looks like it's on Madden franchise going on.
Yeah. Shirts and pants.
He's right, though.
He's not wrong. Hey, Don C., thank you as
thank
always.
You. You're the man.
Appreciate you. Make sure you're getting those claps in. Kevin.
I'm getting them in.
Hey, we're clapping.
I love how he goes back to Kevin just to make sure.
I have to go longer than everybody.
All right, there we go, Kevin. You can stop. But Don, we appreciate you. Don says you make $250 an hour. Ryan, appreciate you all. Love talking ball. Yeah, honestly, how we structure this. So for people to understand moving forward for my schedule, Don, when the Orioles season really kicks off, I'm going to be doing pregame radio. I will be doing some TV work, and I'm scheduling our streams around my downtime. So Mondays and Thursdays work the best at the moment. Sundays might be in the play as we move into baseball season. But yeah, this is something that we're passionate about. We're growing. I mean, I feel like, honestly, we've been doing this for 6 months. We have another news of a sponsor on the way that we can't explain just yet, but we're really excited about it. We already have a great sponsor in Adams Jeep behind Zach there with the sign. Adams Jeep of Maryland. They are our proud car sponsor. We'll save riding the Jeep up, Kevin. We're not like getting jiggy with it, dude.
What steering wheel goes this way, dude?
It's like up and down, like the 10 and 2, right? You gotta
Kevin, shut the fuck up.
No one drives a Jeep 10 and 2, brother. You drive a Jeep at 12
Also,
o'clock.
this is not necessarily free agent. I guess he signed an extension, but people are talking about a lot that Jalen Johnson had his press conference today with the Bears to talk about his extension, and he opened it up by talking about how he got over his sex addiction. So
good for him for opening up.
Yeah, good for him. But a lot of people were caught off guard by that. He opened it up by telling them the therapist he went to about his sex addiction, and people were like, great that you got over that, but we did not see that coming. Usually you thank like your family.
We're just trying to tuck ball here.
Yeah, like it was like apparently it made the beginning of it a little awkward.
I could imagine.
I got a bunch of people texting me like, "Are you watching the Jalen Johnson press conference?" I was like, "No, why?" And they're like, "He's talking a lot about his sex addiction."
As hard as and as people are going to joke about it, right?
Yeah.
Because it's and also the context of being like, "Oh, Jalen Johnson resigned. Oh, we're talking about sex," but
yeah,
it really is
Oh.
an issue. I know we got news, and I'll finish the thought here, but for people to openly say it and express issues that they have, like that's a very intimate thing that he's talking about.
sure.
Maybe if it's not at the press conference, is maybe not the place, but he felt it was appropriate, and he's not afraid to talk about shit that's been bothering him. I know we got our hands up.
The Eagles are not done. They just signed another Giants player. Xavier McKinney goes to the Eagles as well. One of the top safeties available.
So if you're a Giants fan, are you okay?
No,
Are they okay?
I don't think so.
they can't be.
How can you be?
Holy shirts and
I'm
pants.
trying to figure out if this source.
Oh, wait, is this true? Hold on.
Are you looking at the Daniil Hunter? Are you looking at Daniil Hunter?
I don't know.
I don't know if
Do
it's
not
true.
tell me Daniil Hunter's on the move yet.
It says
Apparently, I don't want to say it until someone like because ML Football broke it, but I don't.
Let's wait a minute on that then.
Well, they quoted he's I thought they were saying the source was his agent, but they're saying he's repped by. Yeah, I'm not gonna
not quite
give
on
into that
yet.
until someone else says it.
Goodness gracious. What did Brandon was saying about the 49ers?
Well, that's where it's Daniil
that's
Hunter
what
is
it's saying.
supposedly.
Oh my God! I hope that's not true. I hope that's not true. Well, get it out of the AFC if that is true. We'll find out to see what happens with Daniil Hunter. That will be very interesting to see. But again, if you're new to the channel, hit that like and subscribe button. Guys, I don't know what it is. It could be a lot of things. Could be a lot of bots on X. Who knows? But a lot of people tuning in for the stream this afternoon, which we greatly appreciate.
Moves are coming in fast now.
Yeah, I was getting ready to wrap up this show here and try to recollect myself for tonight, and all this is continuing to happen.
The Hunter thing is not true.
It's not.
Yeah.
Thank goodness.
That's why I was like sitting there. I was like trying to figure out. I was like, I just kept refreshing my post. I was like, some bigger name, please post about this.
No, that one's not real.
Yeah, no, the X crew let us be serial. And also, we appreciate, we're going to talk more in our Discord group, which we also have a Discord for the Ryan Ripken Show. We will try to have more. And yes, the kid, you're right. We are trying to wrap up. We're trying to get to our baseball content here and get ready for what's happening next. And then the NFL just thinks, hey, let's just blast out all these moves right now.
Yeah.
I mean, Nick's got to go get his
Invisalign. Shout out. Gotta get my teeth straightened,
bruh.
I'm gonna expand my upper jaw.
Is that
a thing?
Yeah.
it's what's happening to him?
Dude, when I was a kid, I wore braces for 4 years.
Oh,
And I had this palate expander on my upper jaw. And my mom had to crank it every night. You like stick a pin in and you literally have to manually crank it and it expands outward. My tongue is very large. It didn't fit in my upper mouth, so I had a big lisp when I was a kid. And so it's still like it's gotten tighter as I've gotten older. So the Invisalign's gonna help expand that.
Did that hurt every night? Like, did it feel weird?
My mom said she had to stop cranking it at a point because it was so painful. She couldn't like put me through the pain. Because I was in 7th grade, I think, when I got the palate expander.
I was just gonna say
6th or 7th
we
grade.
just got a comment. When I grow up, I want to be like Nick Moore.
Yeah.
And I agree.
Just keep working. You'll get there, kid.
Yeah.
Just keep
we all
wear
hope
your
to
braces.
be-
You'll get there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we all hope to be like
Dude, 7th grade yearbook pick, Nick Moore, 2003, 2004.
I was like just about.
No, maybe 2005. I had the Michael Strahan, because the palate expander.
Yeah.
So it like expanded my teeth this way, and then the braces pulled them to where they straightened out. But I had a giant gap, and I'll have to find this picture. My mom has it in my buck teeth.
Well, I had to get 6 teeth pulled as a child because my big, the kid teeth were coming out and the big teeth were coming in, and my big teeth were coming in sideways.
Yeah, that's how my wisdom teeth were.
Yeah, so they had to take the teeth out, and I had I had the 2 front teeth, the 2 after, and then just like a massive gap on either side of my mouth, and for like months because the teeth weren't ready to come in. They had to readjust to go straight down.
That's all right.
So
you're a good kid, Nick.
Hey, We cover everything on the Ryan Ripken
Seriously.
show, guys.
Well, yeah.
You never know what you're gonna get.
Zach wasn't just a toddler then when talking about
I was literally just when you were having like Nick was going through like a life crisis with his gap tooth, and I was like learning what a square was. I'm like, here we go, baby.
and then Don saying Nick looked like a garden rake.
That is so. Oh my God.
That's a good comparison right there.
It's actually it's true.
This show
and
is like a box of
it
chocolate.
really is.
You just never know what you're gonna get.
No.
And you know what we're figuring out when we figure out how to use that damn board more over here behind me on the right. So much room for activities, and we have Nick on more. God knows what's going to happen.
Nick
here.
on more.
Oh,
At Nick on more.
Hey, I guess that might be my Twitter handle when I make it.
And then also you can debunk or
Twitter's coming soon. All right, guys, we're
One
getting
day
there.
he's gonna get it.
that's where the Pro Bowl vote
The
starts.
Twitter is coming
That's where the Pro
soon.
Bowl.
and that's like when Nick's staring at the camera like, I want you to vote for Nick Moore for Pro Bowl 2024. Can't wait.
Last thing I
The
need is a
Patriots gave
political-
Antonio Gibson 3 years.
I know.
There's
I
a
already
totally
know
different
this.
org up there now, dude. Totally different.
Well, so
I'm just thinking
Stevenson
that doesn't-
just
Yeah, they still have Ramondre. I mean,
I
I'm just
drafted
interested.
him and still won the fantasy league, even though he actually
was
had
good.
he was very
He was good.
he was solid, but it's like literally it's roulette.
Yeah.
If you are gonna bank on a Patriots running back, like
Yeah,
you are
100%.
it is a
Sorry, Joe, but that's gonna be a competition between us. It
Oh,
said
yeah?
he Joe Rag, he said he wants to be Nick's first ex-follower. I said there's competition.
yeah.
baby.
Get in line, Joe.
I'll text you privately, Joe, and let you know when it's
Damn,
coming
he
in,
just
dude.
called out Kevin.
What he
Said
said.
maybe he'll follow back. I'm
Unlike Kevin.
Wow.
Wow.
This is not the
Oh.
first time Joe
I don't.
has
I
been
don't
called-
see Twitter notifications. I get spammed.
Sure, you do.
Yeah.
Kevin.
I see some. I look at my because I don't. My notifications have gotten so toxic to the point where I just like don't engage as much.
Wait,
anymore.
we get it. You do have the biggest
Joe,
following.
Joe,
of all
I'll
of
follow
us.
you back right now. Hold on.
Couple good kids. Well, if you're tuning into the Ryan Ripken Show, we're doing this live special. Hit that like and subscribe button. We're doing this now. We're gonna wrap it up here. I think we should wrap it up
Yeah, it's
here
a good
just because
idea.
it has been
Yeah,
a long.
I don't think they're.
I think we've
it's gonna
had
happen.
enough.
I'm
We've
telling you, I'm calling it right
it's
now.
Gonna end.
We're gonna end this and Derrick Henry within 10 minutes.
Well,
It,
then,
it happened with Corbin Burns. It's gonna happen with Derrick
and
Henry
then
too.
and then what's gonna happen is we're gonna get the hell back on and talk about it.
Back on.
Everybody panic.
Get back on the what's it called? I just botched that. The saddle.
The saddle.
Saddle.
Yeah.
Get back on
Back
that
in
horse.
the
Back
you
on the
know?
horse.
Yeah,
Back on
there's
it.
some phrases, Nick. We're gonna have to run through the group, especially the younger generation, on some classic phrases. Get back on the horse is one. I'm still a big heavyweights fan, so like Josh Birnbaum, get off the scale, get on the scale, get off the scale moment.
Classic line. Classic. Heavyweights is a classic.
You know what? So would you be a part of the Perkis system then, Nick?
I mean,
Would you have gone to Fat Camp?
no, me, no. As a kid, no, absolutely not.
You-
I was not. I did not qualify. Did not qualify.
Well, well, you might go as one of the instructors then.
Yeah, I would have been. I would have been like Ben Stiller.
You would have been. You would have been Tony Perkins.
Yeah, I would have been.
Oh goodness! And if those people haven't watched Heavyweights movie, it has like Kenan Thompson in it.
Yeah,
Ben
It's a-
Stiller's in it. And the funny thing, ironic, is Ben Stiller buys a camp that is supposed to be for kids to lose weight at the
Mhm.
camp. And it is just absolute chaos. It's one of my favorite childhood movies by far. And I have the Perkis System tank top that I got in Norfolk in AAA. A couple of us got it. And that will be on the Birds After Dark segment. Nick, I don't think you know about this. And we'll wrap up with this. We're going to make a Rip After Dark, not Birds After Dark. And that's where the real stories come out that we don't want to necessarily divulge all this information on here. So you might be called upon for more of those moments.
I have plenty of after dark stories.
Oh boy.
Let's do one more thing. We talked about Zach. If you can pull up what I just sent in show notes, we talked about when Nick got signed, how all the comments were, Lamar. Well, the Ravens just put out the Matabike extension.
Yeah.
And if you can put it on the screen, just scroll through the comments. Every single one is Derrick Henry. Like 30 comments, just
Oh,
Derrick Henry,
yeah.
Derrick Henry, Derrick Henry, Derrick Henry. It's so funny.
Here we go.
People are ruthless, man.
Yeah. And all we want to see is Nick Moore 15 mil.
Dude, I would cut my leg off for $15 million, bro.
Don't do that.
Yeah,
I would cut like a pound of flesh off.
here we go.
keep
This
my
is what
leg.
makes it even funnier. Is it says, and it's a quote from Matabike, and it says, "It means the world to me. It's a real brotherhood." And it's talking about, I guess, him with Pierce and Jones, and it's talking about how I guess the D line is
Wholesome quote.
Yeah, it's a wholesome quote. This isn't Derrick Henry news. Derrick Henry gif. Yeah, that's great, but we're kind of falling behind in free agency, guys. Derrick Henry question marks. So who are we signing today? This doesn't look like Derrick Henry. Stop posting.
Well, you know what? We'll do all of Ravens fans a favor. Then we will go off. So then the signing will happen. That's a guaranteed. It always is how it works here. Last thing we'll say, let us be serial. My coworkers, kids, family, and wife are tired of hearing about it from me. Excited for Rip After Dark. There's going to be some excitement about Rip After Dark. Nick, the guys didn't believe me on certain stories. But when you're in a locker room, or more so, what you have to do to try to get yourself out of a slump, I know you and I could share some notes on how to get out of baseball slumps. We'll save that for After Dark.
Can't have my wife listen to that one.
Yeah, I did. Real fast for you, Nick. So someone just pointed out, actually, Spencer Schultz. He said he just realized that Kirk Cousins and Justin Tucker are like the exact same person, and he said that he thinks that Kirk going to Atlanta is the same as like Justin Tucker, how he would embrace that city.
Yeah, I feel like they're both awkwardly handsome white dudes that do outlandishly crazy things, and they're both really good at what they do.
Yeah. Well, it's just like it was the video of Kirk with all the chains on the plane, and then it cut to it was Justin on the plane.
Right.
But he's like
trolling Russell Wilson.
Oh my god,
that's an all-time great troll, by the way. For Ravens flockless fly. That's
so good.
Great.
Yeah,
Lamar's gonna be leaving us in high knees.
What was the thing he shoot after the Saints racks on racks smoking on that Saints pack? So you just want me to come on here and say something stupid that'll blow up, like racks on racks smoking on that Saints pack?
He relishes those moments. He loves those
He's a very witty person, and I would imagine Kirk is the same way.
No doubt about it. No doubt about it. All right, that's enough for this stream for the day. If you guys hit that like and subscribe button if you enjoyed all of this. We're going to be back to talk baseball at 6 p.m. Wow, not a lot of time. We appreciate Nick Moore being in here with Ravens. Locked On, or just Locked On Ravens.
Right, yep.
Ravens and Locked On Ravens.
That's
Kevin
right.
Ostreicher. Zach Bollinger as well, just being here. We appreciate you. And we will be back for a stream at 6 p.m. because there's a lot of talk around the Baltimore Orioles, but apparently there is a massive development on an injury to the New York Yankees that we are going to be monitoring as well. So hit that like and subscribe button. Follow us on X and on YouTube.
Why did Justin Forsett just tweet out, Derrick Henry comes to Baltimore, mark my words? Why would you say
Okay, we're going to get off the stream
get
now.
off the stream.
So
Get off
long,
the
little
stream.
boys.
Before it happens.
Where's the music? Where's the music?
All
Where's the
right.
music?
Which one is it?
Top left.
Oh, sorry. Outro. I like it.
Found this on the board.
Oh,
There we
yeah.
go. Well, hey, have a day, have a night. We'll see you at 6 p.m. for
Yeah,
another
Brad's
episode
coming
of the
back,
Grinder
Joe.
Show.
Bye-bye.